X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who spit facts online all the time. Can you see it? All the ones who drag my name every single day. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? They keep saying you don't have what it takes to carve out your own name underneath the shadows of gods. And I keep waiting for the day disbelievers say I flew way too close to the sun. I wait, but it never really comes. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A force that compels all to rebel from all right shackled minds. Why do they just stand there against when they fall from the battles I have overcome? You feel it, feel the cope and the seething tone that they make while I stand up, man among gods. And I keep thinking with my mill, shooting ropes in my cold that faces towards the sun. They hate, but I'm sitting comfy with their mom. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A force that compels all to rebel from all right shackled minds. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A force that compels all to rebel from all right shackled minds. It's you and me, your mom, it's me. I'll take another hit from my name. You'll see now, watch me right now, punch your face down. Show you how.
Good evening, everybody. Well, I guess it's actually fairly early in the afternoon. I'm used to streaming a lot later lately. But hello, everybody. Good afternoon. I hope that all of you American viewers, like myself, had a good Thanksgiving. I just ate some awesome Thanksgiving leftovers. My mom is visiting right now, and we made turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, and cranberry sauce. Just the most classic Thanksgiving dinner you can imagine. And we got leftovers for days now, so I had some for breakfast right before stream, and I am feeling nice and full and real good. Hey there, transgender girl 420. Good to see you. Hi, Zan. Just finishing watching the Dolphins game. 2 minutes left. Dolphins are winning. I assume you're a fan of the Dolphins, so if that's the case, then nice. I'm happy to hear that. I'm glad. I'm glad things are going well for your team. You got some good old baked chicken, mashed potatoes, and pot roast for you. Ah, that does sound good. Actually, everybody type in chat what you had for dinner last night. Even if you didn't do Thanksgiving, I'm curious what you had for dinner last night. Hot Pockets, pizza, turkey, mashed potatoes, and corn. Standard turkey and pumpkin pie. I had some pumpkin pie too. Hot dogs, food, cheesy potatoes, Double-decker quesadilla. Dude, Gen Z just goes really far out there with their Thanksgiving dinner selections. I'm gonna be honest, I'll always be a very traditional Thanksgiving lover, you know? Nothing will ever beat a big old turkey with a bunch of stuffing, cranberry sauce, mashed potatoes, and pumpkin pie just sitting on the table on Thanksgiving. Nothing will ever beat that. Some apple pie, too. Oh. Corn on the cob isn't bad either. Really good. Really, really good. And chocolate pie. Didn't have anything chocolate. I don't really associate chocolate with Thanksgiving because it's not traditionally, right? Because cocoa comes from South America. And, like, the first Thanksgiving wouldn't have had anything chocolatey. Is there cocoa in Africa, though? I think there could be cocoa plants in Africa, though. Which means there would have been, like, chocolate. Chocolate would have existed in Europe. Do cocoa plants exist in... I think they exist in, like, most tropical air, like, humid climates on Earth. Like, on both major continents. Like, the Old World and the New World, sorry. Yeah, did we have chocolate before we came to the Americas? Was that, like, did Europeans have access to chocolate through Africa? Because I could have sworn cocoa plants that do exist in Africa. I think they exist in Africa? Yeah, I think they do. I think there might be populations of, like, plants you can get chocolate from, like, the Middle East and Africa in certain areas, possibly. And also to the east. Like, way to the east, maybe. Nah, they've been imported to Africa now for agricultural reasons. Ah, that might be why I'm confused. So, I know for a fact that today cocoa grows there. I'm asking if historically they did. So we would have had to have imported it from South America, which means, yep, no chocolate. Nothing chocolate related at the first Thanksgiving. If you're trying to make it lore accurate, that is to say. Lore accurate Thanksgiving. What's going on the intertubes in my chat today? What are my little scrunglies up to today? What do you guys got planned? What have you guys done today? Are you guys just kind of sleeping off your massive Thanksgiving dinner? Or are you, like, out there doing something? Do you have any cool plans? Are you at work? What are you guys doing today? You're in goblin mode? Playing Disco Elysium. You took a nap. Working through Black Friday. Oh, God help you. You're like on the Night's Watch. I'm chilling at home and getting paid for it. Nice. I've been hard grinding Hearthstone achievements. Hearthstone's a game you could play. I was gonna play some Minecraft. Well, hopefully you find a way to play it that's enjoyable for you right now. I've been a little bit on a Minecraft burnout, but I should be interested in playing it again by the time 12 Days of Christmas comes back around. I'm trying to kind of edge myself from playing Minecraft until December so that it'll be a somewhat, you know, fresh game for me when I come back to it for the 12 days in a row of streaming it. Have you guys seen that one video where it's like the person recording the inside of the classroom and some kid wrote up on the like whiteboard edging, and the teacher came in like into the class because, like, you know, it was the morning, and the teacher saw it and got upset and like circled it and put a line through it like a no edging thing and said, "There will be no edging in my class. Don't you think I don't know what that is?" And everybody is just laughing hysterically. What about gooning? Yeah, I really can't wait to see, like, more of those memes get posted, on like teachers' whiteboards and they don't understand the context. Hey, Mogminer. Koopo. Oh no, I have bad news. Guys, I have bad news. I have quit Final Fantasy XIV. After getting to Shadowbringers, I did not start Shadowbringers, but I managed to make it to level 47 as Dark Knight. I was like making the hard push to get my Dark Knight leveled up to 70 so I could do Shadowbringers. And I just kept on dying over and over and over and over again to these dog shit healers on the first pull every time. I was doing everything right. I know how to play an early level Dark Knight. It's really not that difficult. But the healer just wouldn't keep heals on me, and I kept dying, and then the mobs would go and kill everybody else, and we'd wipe every single time. I spent 2 straight days not being able to finish a single dungeon, because every time the healer was just physically incapable of doing the job. So I uninstalled the game and canceled my subscription, and I went ahead and I watched all the spoilers on YouTube. So I have no desire to return to Final Fantasy XIV. So I know everything that happens. I know the story. I've seen all the trailers and everything. I've no desire to return to the game now, like any lingering, like, oh, but I gotta find out what happens next. I found out what happens next. I just fully killed any potential future desire to come back to the game. So, yeah. Sad day. Yeah, I really do hate the game. Like, with a burning passion, I hate the game after that experience. Like, the fact that there's such an emphasis on you can't, like, be toxic to bad players really upsets me, because, like, I need to be toxic to the bad players. There needs to be a culture of, like, you better fucking know what you're doing, because you're wasting a bunch of other people's time if you make us fail, especially as the healer. So, yeah. Wait, you're done with FF14? Yeah, fully, yeah. I canceled my sub, uninstalled it. The only thing I didn't do was delete my character. I wonder if I can do that without reinstalling the game. I had a Thanksgiving party on Saturday and caught COVID. Oh no, that sucks. I am so sorry, Mogminer. Congrats, that's why I never get in MMOs. I don't have the time to get heavily into them. I know, I suck. No, I completely agree. Like, the amount of time investment I was putting into the game was... No, the Striker clan is still a thing, by the way. I'm just no part of it anymore. I literally left the Discord, too. Yeah, I just don't like the game. Like, every expansion was supposed to be... It's about to get insane now. And it would get better each expansion, but not, like, better enough that I was actually enjoying it to the degree that everybody talked... Like, it was talked up about so much. Like, I was convinced that I was going to be playing, like, peak fiction. And then I got to the Dark Knight questline. The fucking steaming shit pile disappointment that is the Dark Knight questline in Final Fantasy XIV. Oh my god, what a disappointment. What a goddamn disappointment, dude. I'd never been more let down by a video game in my entire life. How do you guys talk about it like it's peak fiction? How do you talk about it like it's even, like, good? I wouldn't even call it good. It's just meh. How you have to read. There's not a single bit of voice dialogue, guys. It's all read. There's no, like, cutscenes that play without you having to, like, click to the next line of dialogue and read it. It's like a visual novel, and it's supposedly peak fiction in gaming. No. 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 I will not read to understand the story of a video game. That is not happening. So, yeah. Pretty much, my overall rating of Final Fantasy XIV is a just watch the cinematics out of 10. Don't even bother playing the game. Don't even bother playing FF14, just watch the cinematics. You will be in a really good... You're in for some awesomeness if you watch the cinematics. But seriously, don't even consider playing the game. That game fucking sucked. Cherry was pretending to like it. I have no desire to play FF14 now, or FFIX now. Oh, that's a different Final Fantasy game. I like the other games you showed me. I think you'd really like WoW. Yeah, FF9 is supposed to be good. The single-player Final Fantasy games are supposed to be pretty good. But yeah. I will say, I liked the Endwalker trailer. I watched that today. And it was pretty cool. It was a banger, but I think it finally, like, really solidifies that, it's not enough to make me feel like it's worth, playing all the way to the end of the story for. Like, it's a cool trailer, but the game will never at any point in the actual game reach the height of this trailer. That's the thing. In none of the expansions that I have played so far has the game gotten as cool as the trailer. And the crazy thing is, there have been cases where I've felt like WoW has been as cool as its trailers in the gameplay. FF14 never really feels like it gets to that point. You know? Like, check this out. This is the Endwalker trailer. This is the most current expansion. Also, big spoilers if you're playing through Final Fantasy XIV and you're not an Endwalker. This is a banger of a trailer, but the game never gets better than this trailer. It's a trailer, it's not copyright. I think this is the best trailer out of all of them. The guy walking on the moon is our character.
The final days were upon us. The fabric of the star had begun to fray, its lands rent by tooth and claw.
Final Fantasy XIV. It's a good trailer, but as I said, the game never gets this cool.
Alize!
It just never does.
I can look after myself, you know. And I've had enough of this rot. Come on!
This is the best part of the trailer.
As the chaos spread, the star seemed doomed to unravel.
They could have just made this part the only bit of the trailer.
There were those who stood in defiance of that fate. The hour is come, Fritra. It's all or nothing.
Like, it's a dope trailer, and I like... The story of FF14 is... I'm gonna piss some people off here, okay? The story of FF14 is like 40% bloat. Like 40% it didn't have to happen. The fact that fucking... I don't even remember his name, but everybody I know calls him Gay Boy because he's in love with Xenos. And Xenos are still alive here. Like, it feels like multiple expansions were practically pointless at the end of the day to me. I don't know. I didn't get to Shadowbringers. I was like, I didn't start the first quest of Shadowbringers. I finished Stormblood, and I just couldn't make it through the grueling, unpleasant push to leveling Dark Knight. like to level my roles, my different roles besides the DPS one that I'd been doing through the MSQ, so I could do the role quest to get the proper full storyline. It was just miserable. I was like waking up, trying to boot up the game and get like a dungeon, just trying to finish a dungeon. I'd spend an hour in a dungeon, never finish the first boss because the healers were literally sprouts that couldn't do shit. And I'd have to dip out and take a penalty and then log back in later for the same experience. It was so unfun that I don't care to have to fight through that horrible experience to get to the okay story. Also, the Dark Knight story was shit. I made it to the level 45 part of the Dark Knight storyline, and it had yet to get in any way interesting. At all whatsoever. It was boring as fuck. I had to read everything. I had to, like, mute whatever video I was listening to while I was grinding so I could read it, and then, like, I had to remember shit that had no context to make me care about it. Otherwise, like, the next lines and missions wouldn't make any fucking sense. Like, the fucking world building in that game is it's boring. FF14 is boring to play, but cool conceptually. That's the thing. It's cool as a whole, but boring to actually experience. So if you can just experience the story through YouTube, there you go. That's every online multiplayer ever, TBH? No. I'd say there are lots of online multiplayer games that are actually fun to play and not just miserable the whole time. Rust is a good example. Rust is a game that, like, through the entirety of playing it, like, you are having fun. And you can have fun at any level of Rust gameplay, whether you're just throwing rocks at random people trying to snowball start with your friends, or you've got, like, a fucking death squad and you're going out to, like, raid every base you see. Like, Rust is fun when you have bows. Rust is fun when you have your ARs. Rust is fun when you've got rocket launchers and helicopters. At every stage of Rust gameplay, it is fun. Minecraft, right? Like, Mogminer typing in chat reminded me. Minecraft is a game that, like, particularly in the older versions before a lot of features I feel like got bloated, was just fun consistently. It was fun to build a house. You weren't, like, miserably grinding to build your house, and then when you finally placed the last block, it was like, finally, that's over. It was more like, okay, that looks good. You know, it wasn't like a miserable, unpleasant experience of grinding to build your house or your farm or getting diamonds even in Minecraft. It was actually fun. But grinding in FF14 for things isn't fun. Especially when it's, like, grinding to fulfill arbitrary, like, number, requirements to continue the story. That's what really killed it for me. So, yes. Very low opinion of FF14. Payday's an absolute blast. Stick to the plan. It goes smoothly and easily, even on high difficulties. Break from the plan, and it goes to hell instantly. Yeah, Payday is also really fun. I really like Payday. Me and Balth have played quite a bit of Payday 2, and it is a fun time. It can definitely be a fun time. Oh yeah, Delancer. The creators of South Park have been very publicly conservative right-wingers for a while now. It is a very good money-making venture. They started diversifying their business as well. They've started to, like, really look into ways to, like, monetize their, like, potential to make more money. Dude, you know what? I've got a really good segment idea we can do before we get into the scheduled segments today. I watched a video with my mom the other day on the TV. It was a house tour. And I think you guys just have to see it, all right? me see if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. I found it. Oh, and it's this guy. It's this dude. It's this dude. It's this duder. Hey, Lauren Walker. Right. Okay. You all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. Okay, everybody. What is, out of all the locations in America that you could choose to try to find a place to live, what is possibly the most expensive place? Besides LA. I'm going to make it a little easier for you guys to guess. New York. Yep, you guys guessed pretty fast. New York City. Now I want you to imagine, in the heart of Manhattan, right next to Central Park, where the skyscrapers are the most skyscrapery and the New York is the most New Yorky, okay? How much luxury do you think a grueling, disgusting, rancid, putrid $28 million will buy you? You're about to find out. This shit is, like, possibly the biggest eyesore to the New York skyline I have ever seen. Hypers in chat if you're a New Yorker, like, in the city New Yorker, because you're gonna appreciate my dunking on this building more likely than not. That's right. We're touring that thin skyscraper.
What's up, everybody? It's Enes here. Welcome to another episode. We're here in Central Park, taking a little walk, enjoying this incredible city. Today's tour is very special because we're going to be touring the skyscraper right behind me. This is 111 West 57, the most slender skyscraper in...
And there are taller buildings in the distance too. That's the crazy thing. The last time I was in New York City was when I was 16. And boy, has it changed. Like, the amount of construction that has been done, the amount of insane, like, skyscraper additions that have been made. I'm pretty sure that's Avengers Tower over there. Yeah, see the balcony? I'm pretty sure that's Avengers Tower. Yeah, New York is not real. This is a fake location. It's not real. Does this building exist in Spider-Man 2? I'm actually curious. Can you guys send me a video of, like, Miles Morales jumping off this building and then, like, thwipping a swing at the last second before hitting the ground? This building's got to be in the game, right? Like, they really faithfully recreate New York City. I'm pretty sure it's, like, actually just a one-to-one recreation of New York City at the time that they were developing, right? I think it does. That's dope. Yeah, someone should try to send me that. That would be cool to watch. It's like, okay, now let's watch Spider-Man swing around this tower in the video game. You know what's funny? I'm pretty sure the guy who wrote that op-ed, what was it? The exaggerated swagger of a black teen or whatever was the line. I'm pretty sure the guy who wrote that op-ed and thus that quote was black. Like, people were making fun of him as if, like, some white, liberal, woke, like, white guilt dude wrote that and was, like, accidentally racist. But I am, like, 99% sure a black man wrote that op-ed and wrote that line in particular. Which makes it kind of weird that the internet's response, a bunch of white people's response, was to make fun of that line and say, actually, that's racist. Like, you're correct, Zant? Yeah, does it not seem like it's kind of cringe that a bunch of white people online then responded, oh, accidental woke racism? I guess it is a little bit, like, it sounds boomery, I guess, is, like, the most silly, I would say, but, like, I don't know. I feel like when you know the backstory behind it, the context makes it feel a little different how that got memed, you know? Yeah, I don't think most people knew the guy who wrote that line was black. I think most people assumed it was like a liberal soy latte sipping like white dude with white guilt.
In the world. It's 1,428 feet tall, making it the second tallest residential building in the Western Hemisphere. Today we'll be touring the 43rd floor unit that gets some of the best views.
It just looms over Central Park like Sauron's tower. Like Barad-dûr. Like, you can't avoid that goddamn thing at any point. You have to literally hide yourself underneath the tree line of Central Park. I've been all up in Central Park, by the way. Maybe one day I'll go back to New York and be able to do like a video where we just like explore around. You know? See some cool New York stuff, particularly explore Central Park. I like it there. It's pretty nice. I would probably want to visit when it's warmer. More likely than not, for the sake of ease of getting around and recording.
Of Central Park and the whole city. Specs on this unit, we got 3 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, 4,492 square feet of interior space with an asking price of $28,750,000. As always, we will leave more information about the property down in the description. And before we start our tour, I want to thank Amy Williamson, who's the director of sales for this building, for allowing us to tour her amazing listing. Now, let's begin.
Like, listen, I can't hate that much, right? Because if you've got the money to afford a nice place and you want to get a nice place, and you're not like someone who's out there saying you like, none of the people living in that tower are like champagne socialists, right? Like, none of the people living in this tower are owning it, dude. They are owning the porky capitalist label in every way, shape, and form. They are living in a glass tower in the middle of one of the most expensive cities in the world, in the tallest tower nearby, okay? They are owning it through and through. There is no irony. There is just full self-awareness. That, I guess, you can't really give as much flack, right? Yeah, you know what this reminds? It looks like a cyberpunk building. You know what's crazy? Just based on how much New York City has changed in my lifetime, this city is going to look like Cyberpunk 2077 by the time I'm 50. Like, the crazy thing is, where like Johnny Silverhands, like if you're my age, if you're like a Zoomer, you're roughly like what the Johnny Silverhand aged people will be in 2077, right? Like he was born around now, or around like the early 2000s, if I recall correctly. Or no, he would have been born like 2010s, 2020s. He was in his like 50s or whatever. 1999. Yeah. He was born in 1988. Oh, yeah, he was older, yeah, because he'd been dead for a while by 2077, you're right. This is Hassan's future HQ. No, I don't think even Hassan will ever be able to afford something like this. No streamer will ever... Mr. Beast might be able to afford this in 10 years. Like, the amount of... the wealthiest people in the world. Like, honestly, I'm going to be real with you guys. Chances are... Yeah, because Johnny died in 2023, right? Yeah. Yeah, shit. Anyway, the people who live in this building are, like, many of them are probably not even American rich people. That's the crazy thing. I know that a lot of you guys, like you might not even consider this, but if you are wealthy enough, like, if you are one of, like, the wealthy motherfuckers of the top tier in this world, you can afford... and you have the means to just have a palace of a skyscraper apartment in New York City. And you just would. Because why would you stay in a hotel when you could have your own luxury place that is yours to stay in when you visit New York City for business trips? You know? Oh, it's still under construction here. In the video I watched off stream, I watched a different video than this one, a different tour. it wasn't under construction anymore. It's fully complete now. But here, like, we're obviously not going to be touring a under construction apartment, I think, but the building itself still had bits that were under construction, it looked like, when this was filmed. God. Oh, my lord. Okay, guys, okay, listen, all right? Maybe this is a taste thing. I don't like this as, like, the vibe of a place I'm going to live, okay? Also, this is like the tower. Notice that? They find excuses to incorporate the design of the entire tower into a bunch of different places in the architecture of the building inside. Like the doorknobs are shaped like the tower. They put like a mini version of the tower in the lobby. Yeah, they try to copy this like Roman, Greek, whatever, like Catholic cathedral aesthetic, yeah. Like it's trying to look like the Vatican. God damn.
All right, everyone, here we are at the entry gallery. A little bit of information about this building. We got 46 residences.
Yeah, it's very still under construction in this video. Guys, in the finished video, like, or not in the finished video, in the video that shows the finished skyscraper, it is so much taller than like every other building around. It might be in the top 3 tallest buildings in all of New York City. Unironically. I'm pretty sure that's the Empire State Building right there. Is it? God, not very big anymore, are you? No, is that... Which building is that? I know it's a famous one. I don't know jack shit about famous New York buildings, okay? Chrysler Building, I knew it was one of the two. That probably means this would be... This would be, the Empire State Building. Unless it's behind. They're not too far from each other, I know that, right? Empire State Building's on the right? Yeah, right here, okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. I mixed them up. Listen, I've been to New York twice, and one of those times I was 8 years old, okay?
That are either full floor, duplexes, or on the 72nd floor, we have a triplex penthouse.
It feels so wrong having, like, an insurance building, an insurance company's building tower above the main mass of the Chrysler Building, and to have this fucking apartment building tower above the Empire State Building. Isn't there something about that that, like, feels wrong? That just makes you feel a little... You know? The vibes are off.
Now we're at the 43rd floor, and at the entry hallway, we have 2 private elevators coming up so you don't have to share your floor with someone else. Beautiful stone floors, plaster walls, and on...
Oh, do you guys want to hear something scary? Really tall skyscrapers in New York City have to utilize counterweights so the building can swing in the wind. Because when you have an extremely tall building, the taller it is, the more surface area the building has, the more wind is hitting the building, which is like an active force pushing the building to the side. And the more surface area there is, the more force is being pushed by wind, right? And the higher up that's pushed, the more structurally unstable it's going to be. So in order to avoid that, the entire building needs to be able to stay relatively rigid and to rock back and forth in the wind ever so slightly in the wind. And so the basement of many skyscrapers are a giant empty like space where there's just a big counterweight and it just rocks back and forth with the wind. That's a haunting image you just put in my head. Yeah, that's how skyscrapers work, guys, especially the really tall ones in Dubai. It's becoming more popular a practice to do in New York City, too, as the skyscrapers get taller and taller. Yeah, like imagine like a giant hollow parking garage underground in the basement of the building. Yeah, that makes me feel sick. Yeah, just basically the most megalophobia fear is what you should be feeling right now. And guess what? That counterweight, to give you an idea of how big this has to be, that counterweight has to weigh as much as the building. That is how big that space underground, that basement space, and that weight are. It's fucking crazy, dude.
On the left wing, we have 3 bedroom suites, and on the right wing, we have all the common areas. So let's go this way. We have these 9-foot doors opening up to the living room, dining room, and kitchen. Mikey, let's get a close-up on this door handle. It actually has the outline of the building, which is really
See what I told you?
Yeah, I saw a bigger version of these down in the lobby, and they were really, really nice.
Great. Now, as soon as you walk in, you're head on with the incredible views.
I'll honestly say... Oh, wow, it's wintertime. Or fall or whatever. I'll honestly say the inside of these apartments is actually more inoffensive than... Like, there... So many rich people places feel like they spend a bunch of money just to make it look more expensive. And I feel like I have so much more respect for rich people who spend their money on practicality rather than flexing, if that makes sense, right? Like, there's a big difference in my mind that from like a rich person who buys 10 cars and a rich person who has like 3 cars who are like, I don't know, like a really nice sports car, a supercar for the sake of like being a supercar that goes fast, and like really nice, like big sports car, not sports car, what are they called? Like those big fucking vans. Like imagine like a Subaru van, but they're ginormous. They're like tanks, but they're giant, like SUVs, I think are what they're called. Like a big fucking SUV and, I don't know, like a really nice pickup truck for towing stuff and carrying stuff around. I feel like if you've got 3 vehicles like that, like the nicest you can get on the market, and like a submarine and a boat, and that's the kind of thing you spend your money on, like a vast majority of things, like a bunch of things that can do stuff that the stuff you have can't already do, and that's what you use your wealth for, I have way more respect for you than if you just like buy a house and invest millions of dollars into extremely expensive art just to have it up on the walls so you can look more rich. Or to buy like or people who buy like 50 Rolex watches or like 50 cars. I have so little respect for people who use their wealth that way. It's just like you're not even, I don't know. I know that it's something they like to do, and many people are into collecting classic cars, and that's what they're far more into, but I don't know. It just... I hope you guys understand what I mean.
Of the Central Park. We have 14-foot high ceilings here. The views are unbelievable. Before we cover this section,
it's under construction, so there's a crane in front of the window.
I want to go this way. We have the plaster walls also here. Beautiful oak hardwood floors with this really unique pattern that gives a lot of character to the space.
This
and
honestly
isn't bad. We have the dining area here, but before we do that, let's go this.
Like this is actually kind of nice. It's in these hallway areas I don't like.
This is where we have the wet bar. We get a wine rack.
Like this is a bit. I mean, it's fine.
Small fridge.
This is one of the less nice apartments in this place. Many of them literally have. Here, let me see if I can find the most insane feature that is included. Oh, hold on. Dog.
Now that's how you get some fresh air.
Whew, it's a
Dog.
I know, it's scary to look down. And when you close up, again, we have that reading going all the way to the end.
Imagine you're doing that, and just all of a sudden, the window pane just falls out. Dog. Hold on, I want to find the one where they're way higher up, dude. I want to find the one where they're way higher up. Actually, no. I want to show you an example of the type of rich, wealthy people's homes that I can respect. The kind that I actually think are respectable to some degree. Let me see if I can find it. The same guy toured it. It shouldn't be hard to find. Here it is. Okay.
What's up, everybody?
The only downside is they manufacture these things in Dubai. And I shouldn't have to explain to all of you guys why Dubai is super cringe. But these houses are fucking dope. If I was ever to, like, spend an absurd amount of money on, like, a house that's, like, rich people shit, this is what I would go to. This is what I would want.
Everybody, it's Ines here. Welcome to another episode. Today we're checking out this incredible floating villa, also known as Floating Seahorse, here in the World Islands. It has 4,000 square feet of interior space, 2 bedrooms that are below sea level, with 3 full bathrooms. And
You heard that, right? There is an the bedrooms are under the deck, under the water. Check this shit out.
check it out.
Dude, this is where it's at. Look how because it's a boathouse, everything has to be practical. Even if it's for show, it has to serve some practical purpose because there's so much like space restriction. And the style of it overall is just something I actually like. God, I could just live like that the rest of my life on that. Yeah, me too. I would live the rest of my life on something like this. This is an aquarium that has the backing of the open ocean. This is an actual aquarium. Like the coral and the fish are in your aquarium. And that is the open ocean behind. So they feel like they are in the open ocean. And you can see this is the deck up above. That's like the little net that you could sit on up on the front deck. And you got your little like chill out area here. And you can look out. Like if you're in really clear water, you can basically just look past your aquarium out at what's under the ocean. Underwater observatory. This is the kind of shit I want to see more rich people spending their money on instead of 500 supercars for no reason.
All right, we're gonna start our tour on the exterior.
The crazy thing is, you could just tow this anywhere, right? Like, you would buy this thing, and then you would pay, like, because assuming you're really wealthy, you would pay to have it towed to whatever coastal region that you live in. You would just have to pay slip fees or anchor yourself in a place that you're allowed to, and you're good. Frankly, you could probably get satellite internet set up and have a fairly decent internet connection. You certainly wouldn't want to stream off of that internet connection or anything like that. Like, I wouldn't be able to have a very good streaming service right off, like, off the coast or anything, but I think you could get some pretty solid satellite internet connection. Enough to, like, watch YouTube videos, maybe. This area is, like, I think this is the, I think right now, this little area that he is in, because that's, like, Dubai's main downtown, like, city area over there. Right now, he's in the islands off the coast, the dredged-up islands. That's why the water is so silty. It's blue, and it's tropical, and it's, like, good water coming from the coast, but it's all silty because of how much unnatural dredging there is in this area. You can see just all this blank sand and the construction. They are... This could be those, like, fan-shaped islands, the palm frond ones, or it could be the one that's supposed to be, like, the world. But, yeah, that's where this is parked.
Here on this patio space. First off, our views are incredible. I mean, we have Dubai skyline right behind us, Burj Khalifa.
Dubai is built on slavery, my friends. Do not ever forget.
And we're at the World Islands, specifically in the Heart of Europe section. And they have these floating villas, which are these super cool structures. By the way, it's super windy.
It should suss you the fuck out if any celebrity or YouTuber or anything that you like goes to Dubai. I'm not saying it's always going to be a bad thing, but just like, if they've gone to Dubai, they've 100% seen the horrible shit and know about the horrible shit happening there. Notably, it's extremely draconian laws around women and freedom of speech, and yet they still glorify it and make like vlogs where it's like, Dubai is the greatest place in the world. Look at the deepest pool in the world. It's so cool. Let's not talk about the fact this was built by slaves, and if you're gay and you come here, they'll like arrest you, and also women aren't allowed to go out in public without the escort of a man. And if you swear in public, you'll literally get fined and arrested. Yeah, and you're not, and porn is illegal. Yeah, like we could just go on. We could really go on. Yeah, yeah, it's really bad. It's really bad. Like if a YouTuber glorifies Dubai, I think there's actually got to be some sort of social reckoning for that shit.
Today, we're going to do our best to protect our microphones from the wind, and we're on the outside patio space right now. They have this section where we have the net. In fact, I'm going to step on it. Let's see. Oh, it's pretty comfortable.
Sex traffickers love Dubai too.
This is obviously a great place for you to sit down, relax, enjoy, and it also allows natural light to go to the lower level because they have 2 bedrooms that are below grade, which is just kind of amazing. And your views are...
I don't really care about his commentary, to be honest. I'm going to be completely real. I just want to see the house. Look at that. That's not a bad kitchen either. I mean, it's not the best kitchen in the world, right? Like, you would find yourself maybe struggling for some counter space. You could move these chairs, like these 3 chairs, and use this table as a counter, and maybe you wouldn't really struggle for counter space too much, but, like, there are so many people who've got smaller kitchens than this, right? And still make it work. I've got a smaller kitchen than this. My ideal kitchen would be bigger. The more counter space you have in your kitchen, the better. It's just, that is the reality of everything.
They have these unique openings in different sizes, allowing natural light to come in, but they're a little bit on the smaller side. That way, it keeps this room private, but yet you still benefit from natural light coming from this section. Now, behind me, we have the kitchen.
I feel like someone could, like, still see your titty, like, through one of those slots, if they're, like, riding by on a jet ski. They don't offer that much privacy, let's be real.
You have your panel fridge.
They're basically people.
Small kitchenette design, but even here they have natural stone throughout, your uppers, vent, your cooktop with an oven down below, your sink, pretty much everything you need. And I'm assuming, let's see, that's your dishwasher right there, 24-inch. Love it. Also, they have these bifolding doors here, that way you can close.
A gay content creator I know moved to Dubai a year ago. I unsubbed immediately, based. But I still wonder how he manages. Probably doing gay shit in private and being very, 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 very not open about it in public because that's dangerous as fuck.
Close this off and almost convert this space into a bedroom, which is really nice. And I say bedroom because we have this opening here, taking us to a closet space storage area. But more importantly, we have this door opening us to a spacious bathroom. Floating vanity design with 2 sinks, chrome fixtures.
Not a bad bathroom at all.
You have your wall sconces here, and even in your floating villa, you have natural stone throughout. I say even in your floating villa because we just toured the Swedish palace, and they had natural stone everywhere. And here they have the same.
I really would love, like, my dream, like, place to live is in a tropical location. Like, I would be happy in, like, a nice houseboat that has good internet, like really good internet, like parked in a really nice port town. Like that would be awesome, especially if it was a tropical port town. That'd be great. Instead of paying rent, you just pay slip fees. So the Bahamas, that wouldn't be a bad place. It'd be awesome if someone did what looked like a glorification of Dubai at first, but bookended it with images of slaves and fathers ducked up stuff in Dubai. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like we do need to get, like, YouTubers doing that clickbait. Like, imagine Mr. Beast, because Mr. Beast has done a bit of that glorification of Dubai, which is pretty cringe, but he kind of avoids it overall. I think he, especially lately, I think he realizes that it's not good to glorify it, because he hasn't done anything like that in a while. So yeah, I don't know. It'd be nice to see some people who have a serious platform talking about it, because it really doesn't get enough attention. How fucking monstrous of a place it is. And they, oh my god, the way that Dubai so shamelessly creates community events centered around internet memes to make their city a viral... They want their city to be a viral internet thing, right? It's so hard to put into words, but it really clicked for me when I saw this video. Dubai Halloween drone light show. You know that really cool trend I told you guys about of like making videos of... Are you fucking serious? There we go. God, YouTube is fucked. Are you guys aware of what I said a little while ago about this trend of making like CGI videos of giant skeletons trampling cities? I love the videos. They're super cool. It's become a really big trend online. So what Dubai did was they did a light drone show of that, like as virality bait. Like their goal is to make their city a viral sensation so that they can farm tourist money. The oil money is drying up, and now they're going to have to rely on tourist money. And so their whole city is just a viral meme. It's like actually a joke.
Design elements throughout.
Yeah, and just in case this video comes out before that one, guys, you're just gonna have to wait and see that one. It's incredible.
It is incredible. It's one of a kind. All right, but now
let's see. The second floor is cool.
Oh,
oh, wow. The fucking hot tub, dude. Listen. Wow. I could only imagine the kind of parties you could throw on a boat like this. Could you imagine the type of parties? People would be jumping off of like, breaking your glass balcony, jumping off into the water. That's the one downside. You need to be able to, like... These need to be made of ballistic glass and need to have, like, a motorized thing on them that you can, like, drop them. And they become, like, planks that people can jump off into the water from. Yeah. The sad thing is, so many of these things are owned by crypto bros. Ugh. Oh, to be one of those extremely gullible, low IQ people who actually lucked out with crypto and ended up getting really rich. And then also ended up going to one of those NFT parties and got blinded. Because that also happened. Like I said, they're not smart.
Floating villa. I would love to just stay here, relax, enjoy. By the way, we just turned on this water, the outdoor shower here. I don't want you guys...
Okay, I will say, what is the point of the outdoor shower, though, on the second floor of the deck? Listen, I'm calling out a design discrepancy here. I guess maybe the hot tub might be chlorinated and maybe you want to shower off, but you would usually shower off, at least in my experience, after coming out of seawater. I've never, like... I guess you do want to shower off chlorine. Yeah. That is true. But it's not as immediate as you want to shower off salt water. Like, whenever I would get home... Like, whenever I'd finish up swim practice, I would just dry myself off with a towel, air dry, and then, like, get in the car, go home, and then I'd shower. But, I'd shower at the beach with those outdoor showers, whenever I'd get seawater on me, because once that dries on you, it like crystallizes salt and it's so unpleasant.
If I owned this floating villa, I would love to just stay here, relax, enjoy. By the way, we just turned on this water, the outdoor shower here. I don't want you guys to think that it's leaking. Yeah. Mikey got a little wet. Yeah, he was trying to figure out which direction or like whether it's a handheld.
If y'all watch the channel, I always like to turn things on, so I was getting a practice run in. And,
yeah, you got to listen out.
Yeah, I got soaking wet.
That's a nice flow, but I want to see the bedrooms. This is the nicest part. If more rich people lived in places like this,
now we're on the lower
I'd be less inclined to make fun of them.
Level, and we're gonna check out the bedrooms. First one starts right here, and as soon as you walk in, you see something that we have never seen on this channel.
I really wish we got to see this shown off in a place that had some actual water clarity and not the like dredged up turbid canals outside Dubai. Like if we were in some real clear water, the view you could get, like especially looking down at the seabed, would be phenomenal.
Below, not great, below sea level.
Yeah.
And you have coral right in front of your floating villa, and this is the view you look at. this is something else. We've never seen anything like this.
This is incredible. I feel like Dubai loves these kinds of things. Like there's a big underwater restaurant here. I don't know what else is underwater.
Because everything they make is supposed to be internet virality bait to bring in tourism for their economy.
There's a big aquarium in the mall we saw.
Exactly.
We've been kind of just exploring the city, and there's a lot of these kind of underwater viewpoints around.
I feel like people are not afraid to experiment here. They're like, that would be a cool idea, and they just go and do it.
Yeah.
They just make it happen.
If y'all are enjoying the Dubai videos, drop a comment. Let us know if you want us to come back.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Fuck rich people. That's the moral of the story, guys. How do you guys enjoy that segment? I feel like that was a good one. I always like to sometimes start a stream with some dunking on rich people and their property. Fembro said Dubia instead of Dubai. That's great. Dubia. Do not go to Dubia. V-Raptor, thank you for the tier 1 sub. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the $5. Very kind of you. Says, I've been to the Empire State Building and its amazing views were ruined by Billionaire's Row. I couldn't see Central Park from some angles. Yep. That building that we were looking at blocks the view of Central Park. It sucks. Thank you so much for the tier 1 sub, though. I appreciate the $5. Remember, guys, you don't have to donate, subscribe, or gift a sub, though that's much appreciated if you do, remember, to support me. You can just drop a like on the stream. We got 324 people watching the stream right now and only 125 likes. Let's make that ratio a little higher. Come on, let's make that like ratio go up a little bit. I know we're capable of it. Come on, let's make number go up. I like when number go up. Every single like really does count, and it helps so much. Allow me to prepare my next links for you guys. The Mog Miner, thank you so much for the $25. I really appreciate it. Very kind of you. Very based, very pog. Says, it's payday here. Woo! Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I really... That is some kindness right there. That's a big dono. And I hope you enjoy your payday. Remember, though, you don't have to give me all your pay money. I'd just like you to. I'm just kidding. No, seriously. Thank you. I appreciate it a lot. You're very based. Let's see. Let me update the dono goal really fast. There we go. Okay. Y'all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1. Action. Guys, the fall of Elon Musk continues. Twitter, or X as it is called now, is just continuing to flounder as more and more big companies pull ads off the platform, and Twitter struggles to make enough money from subscriptions to actually cover the gap. Elon Musk is so far from making Twitter a profitable investment, or even making it capable of paying itself off one day. Companies that suspended advertising on X/Twitter this week: Apple, Comcast, Disney, IBM, Lionsgate, NBC Universal, Paramount, and Warner Bros. They will, of course, not be the last, but these are some of the largest companies for advertising online that there is. Apple is probably the most significant. Apple pulling their ads off of Twitter That means we could see Twitter pulled off of the App Store soon. The Apple App Store. That would kill Twitter in a month if Twitter was removed from the Apple App Store. Apple is making them 100 million yearly. That alone, they've just lost. Is that true? You don't have a source for that number, so I can't take it at face value, but I mean, if that is true, then fuck. Damn. Sheesh. Yikes. And you may be wondering, why is this? Well, it's because Elon Musk just cannot stop posting racist shit and JQing. He can't stop himself. It's like a nervous tick he has that he can't suppress. It really is sad to see. I got a few tweets here. Can I speak, please? I have a few tweets here to use as examples. Okay. This guy says, okay, Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of dialectical hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. I'm deeply disinterested in giving the tiniest shit now about Western Jewish populations coming to the disturbing realization that those hordes of minorities that support flooding their country don't exactly like them too much. You want truth said to your face? There it is. And then Elon Musk replies, you have said the actual truth. So this guy literally just JQs. He just posts, yes, I have no sympathy for the Jews who are being imaginary victimized by the minorities that they are allowing into the country that I've made up, decided are actually anti-Semitic. Like, most of this shit is founded on completely false premises, but when you kind of look at it from the perspective of a conservative, this is their mental gymnastics way of arguing that, like, right now, American Jews are suffering for their progressivism, and Elon and this guy are celebrating it. That's basically their copium. Elon stole your logo, Xander Hall. I will say it is quite interesting how similar to my logo his is, but his logo was actually stolen from someone else. X Twitter logo stolen. The logo was actually stolen from another company, not from me. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. See, it's an uncopywritten. It's an uncopywritten, like, X from a font, like some font program, which means you can't copyright it. Technically, the person who put out the copyright, if it's not royalty-free, owns the copyright to that logo of Twitter. But tons of other companies have used it in their logos too, so you've definitely, more likely than not, if it looks familiar, seen the Twitter X somewhere. Anyway, we've got more examples, though, as to why these companies are deciding to pull their ads from Twitter and continuing to, just kind of helping to sort of, like, put more weight on the sinking ship. Elon Musk says, as I said earlier this week, quote, decolorization from, quote, from the river to the sea, unquote, and similar euphemisms necessarily imply genocide. Clear calls for extreme violence are against our terms of service and result in suspension. And he says, yes, decolonization necessarily implies a Jewish genocide. Thus, it is unacceptable to any reasonable person. So this is him announcing that from the river to the sea, and any references to decolonizing Gaza or Palestine or whatever will be bannable and considered genocidal rhetoric towards Jews. Right after replying, this is the truth, to an anti-Semitic JQ tweet. Because remember, Israel does not represent the goals or the ideas or the beliefs of Jewish people, but of Israel and its government and its leaders, ideals. This is one of the nicest things about Twitter lately, is the fact that Elon Musk has basically made it so that being, like, in any way bigoted, quote-unquote, towards non-marginalized groups is actually against the rules of Twitter. So you can tweet, "I hate trans people," no problem. But if you tweet, "I hate cis people," X will limit the visibility. Elon Musk has basically done everything he can in his power at this point to make Twitter a very clearly right-wing platform. Not a free speech platform, not the centrist platform that he boasted it was going to be, but an explicitly right-wing platform. A platform where he regularly hosts Republican candidates for giving their speeches, and never Democrats, only ever using his platform on this platform to shit talk progressive candidates and the Democrats. It's very obvious that this platform, at least his goal is to make this platform a conservative platform that retains its original popularity, but has conservative cultural domination. He wants Twitter to basically be a giant hug box that he can still make money off of. Even Mudahar has said he turned Twitter into poll. Yeah, no. Most people at this point that use Twitter agree that it's gone to shit. Like, most people using Twitter right now are using it less. And they're using it, like, in more insular ways. And honestly, as we see other platforms start to gain popularity, I do think we could see Twitter fall. The thing is, Twitter is not like YouTube, where it's super expensive or difficult to make a competitor. It's pretty much impossible to make a reasonable competitor to YouTube because of how much money it would cost just to, like, start off, right? Just to get it started alone. Creating a posting platform like Twitter is really not that expensive and really not that difficult in comparison, which is why I think we might see some genuine, sincere competition potentially bring Twitter down. And maybe hurt Elon Musk pretty bad. That's what I'm hoping for, frankly. That's the goal. That's the goal. Is that we'll see all of Twitter just go down in flames, and it causes Elon Musk to lose out on so much money that he's just no longer anywhere near as rich and important as he used to be. Unfortunately, I think SpaceX will always be there to kind of offer him a bounce back for relevance, right? Like, Elon Musk and his association with SpaceX will always be a thing. That's the big downside. That's what I hate so much. Like, anytime I look at some cool space content, there is some Elon Musk shit attached to it, right? Like, you really can't escape Elon Musk when it comes to space stuff, especially with how many space bros are, like, massive, massive Elon Musk dick riders. They're just massive Elon Musk lasers. Yeah, you can drop your blue sky codes here, guys. The thing that made me like Elon before everything, I know now, was those little 15K portable pop-up homes. So much for that. Yeah, I feel like Elon Musk is one of those people that 99% of people who know about him probably at one point had a neutral to positive opinion on him when they first were introduced to him. Elon Musk has done a really good job of making sure the first thing you ever hear about him is something positive. You have to actually, like, look for the negative shit. Obviously not anymore. Like, that's kind of changed now more than ever. But, like, prior to recent time and his self-destruction of his reputation, I feel like you had to really look for anyone talking about negative stuff in regards to Elon Musk. Hey, Mogminer, I'm going to be real. None of that made any sense to me. I am not smart enough to understand any of it. I will never be able to afford a Tesla. So, you know, there's really not much of a conversation to be had about at least for me, about like whether or not Teslas are like a good car. I think that they have some nice features, but they've definitely screwed up. It's a game simulator. Pole Position was a racing game. That's all you need to. That's all that needs to be said. Ah, I thought it was in reference to his cars. He took from the open source community and gave nothing back. Oh, what a dick. Oh, and Elon Musk's Elden Ring build was genuinely embarrassing. I haven't even played Elden Ring, but from my other Souls game experience, I know it was fucking cringe. Like, actually, what the fuck was he doing? Why would he post it? Why'd he post it? Like, what was his build? Does anyone have a link? Does anyone have a link to Elon Musk's, like, Elden Ring build? Yes, he was fat rolling without a shield. Yeah, I played the opening of Elden Ring, but I ended up getting pulled away from it by stuff happening in life. Is this it? Oh, you got it? Oh my god, dude. Look at this. We've got a staff, we've got a sword, and we've got a katana. 2 shields in his inventory. A fat rolling set. Like, what even the fuck is this composition? And some not even a full filled out slot of ashes or whatever they're called, the summons that you get. What is his build? No, you didn't even include his fucking stats, though, because what really brings it all together is he's not even allocated the stats for this. He allocated a shit ton of stats into intelligence, and that's not even his build. That's not even what he's gone to his build for. He hasn't even put anything into stamina. Yeah, it's actually fucking crazy. I don't know. It's embarrassing. Elon Musk isn't even a good gamer. How do you guys like that segment? I feel like it came out pretty good. Dex is a femboy stat. I do like building Dex in Dark Souls 1 because I like to run straight down into the catacombs as soon as I get to Firelink Shrine, grab the Great Scythe, and then roll down to the blacksmith, the skeleton blacksmith boy with the skeleton beard, and then I upgrade the scythe, and then I go back to Firelink, and then I do the game with the Great Scythe two-handed, with the Grass Crest shield on my back, the FAP ring, and the Ring of Favor and Protection, if you don't know what the FAP ring is. What's the other ring? I forget what the other ring I usually use is. Like, I know it the second I see it, and I get it, but yeah. That tends to be my build. Grass Crest shield goes hard. You gotta play on stream? Yeah. It got leaked that Elon was playing Quake back in the day, but the pros told on him being kind of mid. That's funny as shit. I like that. Derono, thank you so much for the $50 donation. Holy crap, thank you so much. Good lord. Thank you, thank you. Guys, I gotta tell you, it's No Shave November, and I cannot wait for November to end. I cannot wait to shave. It's getting to the point where, like, the hairs of my facial hair are just unbearably itchy all the time. I'm not a fan. I really cannot wait to shave. Ha ha ha, I'm doing no nut. Yeah, I am not going to participate in any of your no fap bullshit, okay? Shave your eyebrows too? Not gonna happen. But thank you so much, Gerono. I really appreciate it. Says, I'm glad that young people like you give a shit. Hope increased. Hugs from across the pond. Oh, thank you, Gerono. I appreciate it. Young people, especially in America as of late, are giving many shits. I assure you. And it should bring you hope. Zoomy Dog, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the $5. Very based and kind of you. Said, just made some tortillas. Here's some money because they were really tasty. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. You guys need to make more tasty food so that it makes you decide to give me money. Listen, of course, you guys don't have to donate and give me money in order to support me. You guys can support me plenty, and very much so, just by dropping a like on the stream. It really does go a long way. It forces YouTube to push my content in the algorithm. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you to everybody who does that. What is your favorite Halo game? Halo 2. Halo 2, yeah. I would pretty strongly sit with Halo 2 as my favorite. I think I'm comfortable saying that. I've not played much of 3. I've heard it's a lot of people's favorite. I've heard it's the best one, but Halo 2 is the most nostalgic for me. I'm playing through Final Fantasy IX for the first time right now. Have fun. Final Fantasy games, I think, overall are probably pretty good. I think that Final Fantasy XIV definitely got me interested in Final Fantasy as a franchise. But I'm definitely not into Final Fantasy XIV. I'm very glad to have quit the game. Like, I'm a little bit sad because I enjoyed, like, the free company and all the seeing all the friends and the fans and everything, but I was torturing myself by leveling in that game. After a certain point, like having to rely on healers as a tank, it was just miserable. Nightmothism, thank you for the $7.09. I really appreciate that. Very kind of you. I am going to round that down to just $7 in the dono goal thing, though, because once I start adding cent amounts, it gets way too hard to type out every time. Says, thank you for streaming after a full day of getting chemo, getting blood work, and getting testosterone injected through my ass. I am so sorry to hear about the bullshit you're going to have to continue going through, it seems, as far as medical stuff goes. I'm really sorry to hear that. I'm glad I'm able to stream and distract you from it. I really hope you feel better. I know that, like, chemo is, like, you get it, and then you start to feel like shit as soon as you leave the doctor's office, and it, like, peaks when you get home in the evening, and then it just slowly starts to feel better until your next chemo appointment, like, from there. That's my general understanding of it from the unfortunate amount of, people I have known who've had cancer. Anyway, I really wish you the best, my friend. Thank you so much for the kindness, though. Don't worry about donating to me, though, if you're, paying for that kind of treatment. Jesus Christ. Focus on ensuring you've got enough for yourself. I please, like, I feel bad. We've actually got 410 viewers right now, PP Girl 420. Have I played Lethal Company? No, I haven't, but all my friends are playing it. And I'm just not... I'm not all that, like, interested, I guess. Hey, Hashed. I might get it. I might pick up Lethal Company and play it with my friends at some point, but, I feel like I'm just very busy to get into a new game right now. I've heard it's really funny, yeah. I've heard it's really funny. Have you played the Arkham games, Zan? The Arkham games? Yeah, I played Batman Arkham Asylum, and I really liked it. Like, I remember I replayed the demo for Batman Arkham Asylum so fucking much. Well, I'm bringing up the next thing for our next segment. I played through it so many times, that demo, and it was so fucking fun. There were so many different ways you could go about solving a level, and it was just, like, you could just spend days and days and days reloading that demo, and just, like, it was the first time I'd ever been introduced to that combat, so it was fun just learning to master it. Like, the stealth was super fun. It was fun going in, like, guns blazing. It was fun trying, like, to do it the most perfect stealthily way you could. It was just so fun. And then once I got the game itself, the amount of, like, fun I got out of that game once I got the full thing was so fun. Or it was so much, yeah. I got a lot of fun out of it. I might play through them on stream one day. I wouldn't mind playing through the Batman Arkham games on stream. At least Arkham Asylum. Probably not the other ones. I'm just nostalgic for Arkham Asylum. I played a little Arkham City once, and it wasn't really... I was just meh. But Arkham Asylum was really good. I might play through that on stream. Okay. Let me get this open. I fucking love the Hytale soundtrack, dude. All right. Okay. Do. Okay, are you guys ready? You all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. Dude, this is... I feel like this is kind of a drama segment, but at the same time, I do feel kind of a moral pull to talk about this. Because I guess this is somebody that I've platformed in the past, and now they're using their platform to say some stuff that's pretty bad. Pretty bad, if I do say so myself. So, the other day, I was vibing, actually playing some FF14 before I quit the game, because I don't like it. I'm sorry, FF14 fans, if that upsets you. When I saw a tweet come up on my timeline from the one good conservative, Counterpoints, he goes by both those names. Counter Connor, he goes by that name too. Quote tweeting someone named Wick, and it was 2 people who had been banned. Someone named Dan Simpson, I don't know who that is. Apparently they're like a tanky Hassan orbiter, and they're like, you know, in the anti-Ukraine, like pro-Hamas sphere, and Denims, who is someone I used to be friends with and have platformed numerous times on my show. And obviously, you know, streamers get banned every once in a while, like, okay, whatever. I mean, what'd she get banned for? Counterpoints quote tweets it and says, Denims reading Osama bin Laden's letter, quote, America deserved 9/11. I mean, I can't argue with facts. I'm good with the ban. Is what he said. This is what I saw pop up on my fucking timeline, dude. Now, I wasn't going to talk about this because I don't like to make petty personal drama like, oh, I was friends with this person IRL and now I'm not, like, into a thing online. Usually I wouldn't. But it's gotten to the point where I genuinely kind of feel a little guilty because she is now unironically the largest female political streamer on Twitch. That's not a joke. That's not like an exaggeration. She came over to my house and had me log into her OBS account and set up her OBS so that she would have like the layout look exactly like Hassan's. She told me to make it look exactly like Hassan's. I like helped her get back into streaming back in 2020, and like actually guided her on getting into Twitch streaming again and getting into the politics world. And after she started to blow up in that space, she just like completely ghosted out, which is fine. That happens. You kind of drift away from people in this space from time to time. But when she started becoming a Hassan waiting room and like buddying up with Noah Sampson and people who are like doing defense of Russia and their invasion of Ukraine, and this is the more recent thing that got her banned from Twitch, agreeing with the anti-Semitic screed in Osama bin Laden's letter. Guys, I ended up watching her reaction to the Osama bin Laden letter, her reading of it. It's like in the letter, he's saying the Jews control this, the Jews manipulate that, and she's reading it, no disagreement. Absolutely no disagreement. No like going against it or anything. Funnily enough, before I went live, I got this video in my recommended. Asmongold gets accused of being sexist. And like Denims is also not really doing well in the broader like sphere with her reputation because she's been getting a lot of shit for shit talking large content creators that are very well liked.
This is my favorite thing that happens, is that whenever...
To be fair, I've shit-talked Asmongold, but I'm, like, an ex-Asmongold fan, so I feel like people who see... Like, if an Asmongold fan saw what I have to say about him, they'd probably be like, okay, well, this guy's not, like, an outsider. They clearly just are kind of, like, a little disillusioned with his content right now.
Somebody says something, everybody turns it into some sort of like sexist thing. You know what I mean? So there was like a person who goes, this gets 10,000 likes. A lot of people.
I think her point here is fine, by the way, but I mean, it didn't go well. And the reason why I brought this video up was because of the ending. Where's the... Yeah, here it is. Yeah, this clip that plays.
Oh, but I do.
I'm judging him for wiping his mouth on his hand and smearing it along the wall like a goddamn animal.
Two can play that game.
America deserved 9/11. I can't disavow facts, man.
While reading the Bin Laden's letter to America on stream, which she later got banned for. Now, here's the thing, okay? This could just be a big fumble, alright? This could just be a colossal fumble, you know? But, I ended up seeing her tweet in reference to her ban, and it's actually embarrassing. It's actually embarrassing. So, here we go. Well, that's the last time I show feet on stream. Sorry for anyone I offended with my piggies. I will spend the next 24 hours reflecting on my actions and grow as a person. Dude. She didn't want to own the fact that, and of course, like, tons of people that, like, I know and am friends with her in their replies here being like, oh, Queen, your ban was false. And it's like, does Keffels know that she's, like, defending someone that just said that America deserved 9/11 and is, like, in favor of the... It was of, like, deserved 9/11 and was in favor of, like, the anti-Semitic shit in Osama bin Laden's letter? Like, dude, she's actually, like, being dishonest here. She got banned for pro-terrorism shit like the other guy did, who did that shit the same day. And Twitch is not banning people just for reading the, obviously it was the feet, bruh. No, it wasn't. What are you even talking about? Feet are not bannable on Twitch. Also, like, she lied about it by saying that it was something else. Like, we all know what the ban was from. That's so shady, dude. That's so shady. And on top of this, and this is why I initially started to feel a little iffy about her, was the JXy thing with the React drama. Like, I don't know, man. I genuinely feel like a little guilty that I helped her start her streaming shit back in 2020. Like, I literally sat down at her computer and, like, created her OBS layout that she still uses today. It's actually insane. I unironically, I've created, it's like, it's like Destiny having, like, created Hassan, right? Like, it's that version for me, right? Like, oh, fuck. I'm Oppenheimer. I am become Death Destroyer of Worlds, or whatever the line is. No, in all seriousness, obviously, I didn't create her career or anything like that. In fact, it's more arguable that Hassan did, because she's like a massive Hassan waiting room and in that sphere and whatnot. But, like, I do kind of feel bad about platforming her, and I feel bad about being friends with her after seeing the vile behavior she's willing to defend, particularly the defense of the invasion of Ukraine. That Hassan has done, because she's like a big Hassan defender. That's really cringe. Who is her? Denims. We're talking about Denims, this streamer, the biggest female streamer on all of Twitch. But yeah, she outright lied about why she got banned, which is like shady as fuck. And I don't know, like the fact that there's so many people who are still in this space, like she's pretty much the female Hassan right now. Like she's pretty much doing everything wrong that Hassan is. The poor reporting, the defending of like war crimes, like everything that Hassan does, she defends, and she is the largest female political streamer on Twitch. I feel like there's not enough discussion about the fact that there are some very warranted criticisms there. And I wanted to avoid talking about this, just call her a grifter, dude. Okay, guys, I'm going to be real with you all. I've tried to avoid talking about this for so long because the fact that I used to be personal friends with her makes it feel like me objectively calling her out makes me look bitter. And so I was just like, I'll leave it aside. I'll let other people call her out whenever it's warranted. But then I saw a wave of people that I'm friends with responding like, oh, why you getting banned was wrong, when what she got banned for was saying America deserved 9/11 and agreeing with Osama bin Laden's letter to America, talking about, like, Jewish world mind control. Like, that, yeah, no. I think I might need to, like, talk about it now, and I don't care if people think it's bitter. I'll just ban you and block you. I don't care. There we go. Thoughts on that segment? That's your drama for today. Did you guys like that little drama you get as a treat? Good. Good. Let's bring up the next one. Link numero uno. What do you mean, Twitter? Oh, wait, did I... I guess that link doesn't exist anymore. I guess I'm blocked by whatever Twitter account posted that image. That's cringe.
This is...
No spoilerinos. Absolutely none. Y'all know what to do when I say action, right? Three, two, 1, action. All right, everybody. You all remember a few years ago when I had my first big drama, right? The sex cult drama. For those of you guys that don't know, that accusation, the false accusation that I had a sex cult of all things, I am not that cool, I promise, came from a single person. That person is a YouTuber by the name of Thoughtslime, who to this day still doubles down on this accusation and refuses to apologize. They will block anybody who asks them to apologize to me or correct their statements on me. And they will, like, double down on it on Twitter if it's somebody big enough that they need to respond to because they're getting a lot of likes and replies. Thoughtslime is a genuinely slimy individual. However, recently they made a video called An Apology to Men and Response to Shoe on Head, which is just like, if you guys don't know, Shoe on Head called me a pedo sympathizer for saying, hey, starting the conspiracy theory that Balenciaga is a pedophile ring is probably not good, especially when, like, we're at the start of what would end up being the massive gay groomer, like, shit that ended up being a huge hysteria across all of America, resulting in countless anti-LGBT bills getting passed. Yeah, basically that was how the Shoe on Head bridge got burnt. So seeing these two fight is like, well, it's going to be funny as fuck. It's going to be super funny. Obviously, we're not going to watch the whole thing because, like, Thoughtslime is such a, like, spiteful little shit. He would, like, actually, unironically, copyright strike me falsely if I included too much of their video in my video, so we're going to have to be sparing with how much of their video we use. But I'm curious to see what this is all about.
This is the hardest video I've ever had to make. I never thought I'd have to make a video like this, but it has come to my attention that I have failed men. For those not familiar, men are like, how do I describe them? They're like normal people, but usually they're bigger, and usually they're hairier, and they don't typically smell as good. It's hard to describe them because they're quite variable. Some of them are Chinese, some of them are dentists. They're all different. You know one when you see one. But it's not important what men are. What's important is that it's been brought to my attention that some of my words have been deeply offensive to
there are a lot of adjectives you can put before man. That is true.
Men and people within the larger male fandom.
Types.
And that was never my intention. I would never want to mock people who I think could defeat me in a fight. Besides, some of my best friends are men. I have men in my family. I'm even half man on my father's side. I have a deep and abiding respect for men and men.
Okay, so we're already demonstrating this, like, very clear sarcasm in, like, reference to the insistence. Okay. So, Shoe on Head is obviously wrong, and Thoughtslime is obviously wrong. Both of them are wrong, and they're wrong for different reasons. I can prove it mathematically. So, basically, right now, we are seeing record high rates of loneliness among Gen Z. Where we are seeing this loneliness the most strongly is in Gen Z men. Men around my age, around most of the people in chat's age, right? Like our generation, but the dudes, you know? In that reference, like, we are the most lonely as a demographic as we have ever been. Data has shown this time and time again when it comes to friendships, relationships, so on and so on. This is just objectively true. Now, a lot of lefties have tried to just hand-wave this by saying it's the pandemic, and that the pandemic makes it, like, has made it a lot harder for people to socialize, and that's where the problem is. And I do think the pandemic has been a multiplying factor, but overall, there's been a pattern. This pattern has been going for a while, and it's not letting up anytime soon by the looks of things. It's just continuing this direction. And the stat that was the most shocking is, like, the extremely high rate of virginity among 18-year-old to 25-year-old men. Now, this is a complicated topic because there's a few ways to look at it, right? On one hand, no one is owed losing their virginity, right? And certainly at 18 years old, you're not, like, too old to have not had sex. You're not even too old to have not had sex at 25, right? Like, you can just never have sex if you want to. But one issue is that I think a lot, like, sex is fun. Let's be real. Like, it is one of the great joys of life. and a life completely lacking in it is definitely pretty... That is a pretty sucky life. Can we all agree on that? I think pretty much everybody here can agree. So when you look at a statistic that shows that a massively disproportionate amount of young men are still virgins well into adulthood compared to women their age, that tells you there's something going on with specifically young men that is unique. Now, of course, they're not owed this, but I think it's worth looking at why this is happening, especially when we look at the results of this statistic. Where do you think the incel movement came from? Like, the incel movement was a thing a few years ago, and was a thing 10 years ago even, but it was never as big as it is now. With Andrew Tate and Sneeko and Aiden Ross and the Red Pill community where they are now, it has never been bigger than it is now. So clearly, there is a growing market for that content. A continuously growing market for that type of narrative. And the fact that that is where these guys are going to be radicalized in a really bad place, should be concerning to us. We should be curious about what sociological roots are causing these statistical changes that are causing young men to rally themselves to far-right talking heads. The fact is that our society teaches men from, like, a ridiculously young age that our value comes from a few things, okay? There are three primary things that a man's value in society can come from. If you do not provide at least one of these three things, you are practically a nothing man, a useless man, a joke, a failure of a man, if anything, right? All of our media and everything, like, heavily implies or outright tells you this your entire life when you're a dude. In the same way that beauty standards and sexist, misogynistic, standards and whatnot are applied to women from a very young age and until, like, through their entire, life as they grow up. And for men, the idea is that you have to be valuable for one of these three reasons. Either you have to provide financial stability, you have to be capable of providing physical and sexual satisfaction, so, like, being a heartthrob, right? Or you have to be, like, a really good protector. Like, you have to give off the vibe of a really good protector that fills, like, a very particular set of needs, right? Or you have to be willing to die in war. That's also, like, the fourth little, like, that's the side optional one. That's like the, like, you know how Y is sometimes a vowel? It's like that. That's also an option. That you get that thrown in your face sometimes too, that, like, a man has to be willing to die for what he believes in, you know, that kind of shit. And so a lot of dudes grow up in this era where, like, we're all on the internet. We have everything we need besides, like, the fact we're working wage slave jobs. Outside of that, like, there's no going out there and trying harder to make your life better in most cases, right? Like, the idealized view that I think a lot of men had growing up in America in particular is that we live in a meritocracy and I'm a man. If I work hard and I do what men are supposed to do, then I will see the rewards that men are promised for doing what they're supposed to do. And the reality is that that's all just the bare minimum. like unironically, a lot of that is just the bare minimum. Being able to make enough money to survive, working hard, working a job, in many cases being willing to enlist in the military and die for your country. For many people, this is the bare minimum, not what they have to do in order to live, like, a good life. The fact is, the American dream is kind of being revealed as the American myth to much of Gen Z, and particularly to younger men. Because, well, while we are seeing record numbers of women pursuing STEM fields and long-term careers, as ever, women are generally socially moved into finding men to support them, while men are pushed heavily into finding a career that will make them desirable to a woman looking for a man to support them. And so right now, men are suffering probably the most from the state of like economic anxieties in the working class of like Gen Z. And that's probably one of the larger factors in this, that a lot of like younger men are working jobs that are taking up a lot of their time, or they're in school and that's taking up a lot of their time. And a lot of younger women their age are dating guys that are working those jobs. It's complicated, and I think the fact that we're, like, I'm not trying to say that women have it easy in Gen Z, but the fact that men are showing, like, the symptoms more strongly, so much more strongly, of social anxiety and social isolation, says that, like, either men are naturally incapable of handling hardship, or in some particular way, men are getting it pretty bad, right? And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we spend so much time training men into thinking that there's a very select few things that they have to be a real man, and those standards are practically impossible, and they get more impossible day by day. And one of the biggest, of course, is the idea of, you know, having a relationship with a woman and pleasing her, right? And a lot of those, and that can depend on a lot of things just based on where you are. Like, obviously, if you're dealing with social anxiety, that's not going to help very much. And so it can be cyclical, right? If you don't feel like you can get into a good relationship with a girl, you're going to feel like you can't get a good job because you're depressed about it. And if you can't get a good job, you're going to feel like you can't get a good relationship with a girl. So it's like these things feed into each other, and they're all toxic standards that aren't really there. Like, they aren't really there. Most of these guys are literally too, like, in their head about it. But, like, I'm honestly painting with too broad of a brush right now. I know I've paused for so long, but I'm actually passionate about this topic because it's so important. I'm honestly painting with too broad of a brush because a lot of younger men my age aren't in the, like, aren't part of that statistic because they can't get laid or they can't get a girlfriend, but they unironically choose not to. Hypers in chat if you're unfamiliar with the term volcel. So, volcels, the idea behind them is it's basically voluntarily celibate as opposed to involuntarily celibate, which is incel, right? The idea is that they voluntarily do not pursue sex, relationships, or anything like that. And most guys that I know that are in the demographic of 18 to 25, all of them meme and joke about being volcel, including me. Like, every one of them jokes about being, like, in a not-so-joking way, jokes about being volcel. A lot of content that we consume online right now is some of the most vapid, mind-numbing bullshit ever. When it comes to TikTok in particular, I think that TikTok has ruined the perception of women to young men. When I go on TikTok or I see any TikTok trend, it's like, here's a girl lip syncing to a popular song that's about abusing your boyfriend and manipulating him to get things out of him. And it's like 100,000 different women lip syncing to that song to like 1 million likes each. When dudes see that kind of stuff, they just start to grow this like resentment, this disgust for women, an unironic disgust for women. And I've talked to a lot of guys my age who simply say, I feel like a lot of women are predators, just a different kind of predator than a lot of men tend to be. The fact is, a lot of these guys, included in this statistic, are afraid of women. They are actually just straight up afraid of women, and they've like rationalized their fear using anecdotal examples where like insert woman did a bad thing, or insert like toxic thing that's popular with women right now is popular, right? Dating apps are a good example of this as well. A lot of the most popular incel statistics come from dating apps, right? But you're selecting for like the worst possible people to try to base your opinion off here, but the existence of that doesn't matter. A lot of people will never listen to you when you say, but dating apps are not a good, like, they're not a good population to select from, right? They're not unbiased. But when you look at dating apps, like, the top 10% of guys or 80% of women will only ever swipe right on 10% of guys. And so they extrapolate that to all of the dating world, and tons of guys my age believe that's real, which is really disheartening when it's just a blatantly unfactual statement. But when you see stuff like that, when you see those statistics, and it's at least true on dating apps, those anecdotes start to form worldviews in illogical young people's minds. Young people think that what they experience is how things are, right? It's hard to put into words, but young people, like, once they're like in their like late teens, early 20s, start to feel like they've got everything figured out. I'm 24 right now, and I already feel like my 20-year-old self was dumb as fuck. You know, like, I already think my 20-year-old self was super dumb compared to my 24-year-old self, you know? And it's just sad that so many people on the left are unwilling to even discuss this stuff, because it's such a... I feel like the popular thing is just to say, boo-hoo, man, like, why don't you men just man up? And it's like, well, now you're part of the problem. When you're unwilling to, like, hear out why these dudes are like, having a massive sociological issue across the entire demographic, you're just kind of doing the bad thing. You're just kind of doing the patriarchy when you tell them to just man up and deal with it. Like, yeah.
Male culture. I've participated in many of their rituals, gone to their places of worship, ate their traditional foods. I will now give the traditional male apology for any offense.
Bouth, are we watching Game of Thrones tonight? I want to watch Game of Thrones tonight. So if you watch Game of Thrones tonight, you better wait for me, and you better get me in there, because I'm down for some GOT. I'm down.
My thoughtless words may have caused. I'm sorry, bro. I love you, bro. We good, bro? Now to back up and explain myself a little bit, in a video...
Jesus Christ, I forgot how obnoxious and slimy Thoughtslime is. Oh my lord. Can we fast forward to... Oh god, I... Do I have to look at Thoughtslime, guys? Can I, like, close my eyes? Can I just close my eyes the entire time?
Facts about the reproduction of patriarchy could be taken as evidence of a supposed demonization of men and manhood. Particularly because the whole fucking video, like the whole fucking thing, was about how insincere this type of performative masculinity is, how it does not represent men realistically, and holds them to standards that are both impossible and, this is important, deeply stupid. But then, some very concerned people reached out with some gentle criticism, some suggestions, like that I should kill myself, more people than the normal amount that tell me to kill myself, and a lot of people complaining that I hate men, and also for some reason...
Yeah, so basically, that's not at all what happened. What Thoughtslime did is over Twitter and over his YouTube channel and other platforms over the last, like, year that this has been a relevant topic of discussion online in the lefty space, has been discrediting any claim that we should give a fuck about this statistical spike of insanity in male virginity between the ages of 18 and 25. Getting laid as a straight dude often requires free time. That's definitely true as well. I think that a lot of... This is also why it's so frustrating to me that lefties won't talk about it, is that this is such a great bouncing off point to talk about the ills of capitalism and living in a, like, late capitalist society. The fact that so many young men don't have enough free time to feel as though they have the time to invest into a potential relationship is, like, such a huge point. It's such a huge point for us on our side of things. The incel red pill types just say it's because women suck.
reason white people, which I don't feel is related, but okay, I'll work on that too, I guess. And I didn't want to admit it at the time. I thought, what's probably happened here is that some chud must have talked about me in a video. Like some chud didn't like a thing I said, and they showed it to their chud audience to get them mad at me about it. But what happened next shook me to my core. Because it turns out it wasn't a chud that talked about me in a video. It was Shoe on Head. What? Well, she didn't really talk about me so much as she showed like a clip of me in passing in a video. And that was why suddenly my feed sucked more for a little while until they got bored. And it confused me. It confused my delicate little brain. Huh? I would understand if some chud made a video about me, but Shoe on Head is, of course, no right-wing culture warrior. Now, I'll grant you, she once was. She was once an anti-feminist crusader in the...
Well, she definitely is now. Also, Jesus fucking Christ. Who remembers this guy's fucking psycho art? His fucking nightmare fuel art. What's his name? Brent Sherry. Yeah, this was, yeah.
Wars. She rubbed shoulders and hobnobbed with all sorts of anti-SJW alt-right adjacent figureheads and white supremacist terrorists back then. But in time, the scales fell from her eyes like Paul on the road to Damascus. And now she's a bona fide, real, honest-to-God, no-fooling leftist. She said so. Of course, those old videos are still there. She's not running from her past. And
she also just married a neo-Nazi.
And of course, they're still monetized. Like, she's still benefiting from her past. But when people come to our side, it's cause for celebration. They should be welcomed and given leadership positions. That's called solidarity. People can change. People can change without meaningfully changing their behavior. And at the time, I was too busy to respond because, of course, I was working on a video about fake leftists disingenuously calling for left unity in order to use our spaces to spread their right-leaning, often bigoted ideas. So, of course, you see, I had no time to think about Shoe on Head. No, I'm doing it again. I'm being snide. I mustn't be snide. Being snide is what got me into this mess. Look, I can't see inside Shoe on Head's heart. If I were forced to guess, I'd imagine her conversion, so to speak, is
America isn't Jeff Bezos. Also, why did this motherfucker just FBI crime statistics at me? Men do the most murder. Okay?
Sorry, Shu, I should have been clearer about this. I was talking about who has power over who in the scenario. You probably didn't realize that because it was in the part of the video that you skipped, but generally, when you're willing to kill someone, that grants you a certain power over them. Kind of thought that didn't need clarifying, but there you go. That's why I threw that statistic in there. They like having all of the stuff they don't deserve. They like that. They want it to stay that way because it suits them. Because of the stuff, telling people they're special and deserve all the nice shit that they have, that's going to be an easier sell 10 times out of 10 than like saying, hey, maybe you should have less stuff and other people should have more.
Leftism is when you don't have a lot of stuff.
No, I don't think leftism is about having less stuff. I do think it is about flattening unjust power dynamics.
The crazy thing is they're both so far off base. They aren't even like approximate to the conversation at hand. Why the conversation, if we're actually having a healthy, good conversation about this, should be about how feminist rhetoric needs to include more points about how the patriarchy harms men too. Because we kind of have had this like brain-poisoned idea that feminism is just for women become popular in our society. That's not the case at all. The reason why feminism has the name that it does is because of the roots of the movement. But feminism is through and through an egalitarian movement. Its goal is to defeat injustices and to achieve equality between like genders. That is the goal of feminism. If men are having a like bad time in a certain issue due to especially the patriarchy, the thing that feminism is primarily meant to be fighting as a movement, then I think we need to talk about how it affects men too. And I don't think it's like, oh, it only matters because it affects men too. Like, duh. But I think it's relevant, right? It's relevant to let men know that feminists aren't just like crazy, screeching women fighting to get more rights than men, or whatever popular culture might have convinced them.
And kind of dismantling oppressive power structures. And so if one group is systematically denied stuff, then yeah, taking stuff from the people denying it and giving it to them is indeed leftist. Kind of thought that went without saying, kind of thought that was self-evident. If one were to simply watch her video, which approximately 3 million people did, they'd get the impression that I was saying that the left should not do outreach to men because men are murderers and evil. When in fact, what I actually said was the left, by virtue of the positions we hold, will always have a harder time converting those who benefit from the structures we seek to dismantle, a position she herself states in the same video.
But the fact is, it's hard for progressives to organically appeal to men, because a large part of progressivism is oppressive hierarchy, and men are oppressors. Making progressivism look appealing to young men is an uphill battle from the start.
And thus the question of whether...
That's actually the most misandrist argument I've ever heard from Shoe on Head. Holy shit. Young men will see progressivism and that it wants to make hierarchy not exist and they will see that it wants to make women equal to men, but that requires men to be brought down, supposedly. And so that makes it an uphill battle for men to become feminists. Like, get your heads out of the gutter, chat.
Whether or not the left does enough to appeal to men is misguided. It's harder for the left to do that, kind of intrinsically. My points about men doing most of the murdering and assaulting, which is just a statistical reality, was not brought up, as Shu presents it here, as evidence that the left need not appeal to men. I brought it up many sentences later to demonstrate the relative power dynamics between men and not men. But she kind of just splices those two things together, and it gives the impression I'm simply dismissing men's concerns out of pocket. She hilariously had to skip past a part where I specifically say that there are, of course, exceptions to the general rule that men are more privileged than, say, women. Because if she didn't, it would become clear that her entire framing of this issue is kind of horseshit. Because of course men have mental health problems, and of course those mental health problems are important and worth taking seriously. The only people she seems to be able to point to say otherwise is like weird Twitter randos, given that she likes to...
That is true. That is true. Like, her alternative is red pill shit. Like, very, like, soft, middling, inoffensive tier red pill shit. Like, basically the modern day, like, version of what she did back in 2016. Like, just, like, a reiteration of it for modern politics. So, yeah. I definitely agree with some of Thoughtslime's criticisms of Shu, but at the same time, Thoughtslime is not, like, Shu wasn't even arguing from a basis of reality in the first place. So Thoughtslime's responses aren't even two arguments that are based in reality. So a lot of this is just, like, they're talking past each other, and neither of them are actually touching on the real issue, it feels. I mean, at least it feels like it. I actually haven't seen Shu's original video. I haven't watched a Shu on Head video since me and her were friends. Like, since way before me and her stopped being friends, honestly. I hadn't watched any of her content for a while, like, up until that. So yeah, I don't know if she, like, is more on topic later on in the video or something, but it's called The Loneliness Epidemic.
Let's say, embellish the contents of some people's tweets, I don't find that argument necessarily persuasive. Saying that someone has privilege, or even indeed that they actively enforce a structure which privileges them, doesn't mean that, like, we ought to never ever listen to them or help them with anything ever. If I were on fire, I would expect a less privileged person who is holding a fire extinguisher to help me. She also seems to be missing the broader critique people are making. I think that she's absolutely right, for example, to point out that it's kind of rude and shitty to respond to a man having a mental health crisis by simply saying that mental health crisis is the result of patriarchy. I don't think it's fair to lay patriarchy at the feet of an individual man, and I don't think it's helpful to dismiss someone's mental health concerns on the basis of their own relative privilege, or even, like, their shitty attitude about it or whatever.
So why was Thoughtslime and everybody else saying, oh, boo-hoo, in response to the statistics about male virginity? Like, the response is always, who cares? Like, why do men need to have sex? Is, like, their response. And it's like, well, because... because sex is fun and like kind of a part of the human experience. Like, you're not owed it from any specific person, but like the fact that so many people are not getting it when they were before seems like maybe a thing's going on. So incels love this statistic because when you see that women and the rate of virginity has stagnated, like, women are not seeing anywhere close to the massive spike we've seen since 2008 in male virginity. There's been a particular spike in the last couple years, and this is just 2018. This is pre-pandemic, guys. This is pre-pandemic. This is from a recent article this year. Like, the Washington Post made this article this year, but the survey and the stats are from 2018. This is pre-pandemic. It's gotten worse. This is from before the rise of Andrew Tate, guys. This stat is from before the rise of Andrew Tate by multiple years. Yeah. Women, the rate of virginity for women has plateaued and basically zigzagged around this general margin for quite some time. For men, it's just been going up exponentially since 2010. Like, this is exponential growth. That's what you're seeing here. Like, pretty damn close to exponential. Not exactly. It's gradual, but it's like, it gets pretty damn steep in some areas. This level of a spike and this 10% difference is massive. My mom said they need to cut off their man buns, which I think is a good example of what I mean, right? Like, when women hear this statistic, they're like, who cares? Boo-hoo, right? And meanwhile, we're seeing, like, this massive rise in, like, male school shootings, like, on woman violence. We're seeing massive rises in, like... there you go, right? So, like, it's a good example. Like, a lot of women, like, they hear that, and a lot of people on the left hear about that, and they just don't give a fuck. They're like, good.
Even if someone is like a sexist jerk, like their mental health problems are important. Mental health does not discriminate in this way. Even mean, shitty people deserve to have their mental health treated and taken seriously. That being said, it does kind of seem to me like Shu is suggesting that discussions of patriarchy and privilege are the thing which makes men depressed and lonely, or at the very least, the thing which prevents feminists and leftists from addressing the issue, that men feel undervalued and attacked, specifically because of efforts to dismantle these privileges. Towards the end of her video, for example, she says that men are natural providers and that their inability to provide makes them feel valueless.
A lot of men's value comes from the money they make, unfortunately. Men are natural providers, and if they have nobody to provide for, they get into findom or send random girls on the internet money. I'm just kidding, but the fact is, a lot of men simply feel like they don't have a purpose anymore. Whether a job...
This is basically the, like, most nothing argument ever. I don't feel like it's really the men feel like they don't have a purpose anymore thing, because this, like, hyper-specializes the argument. Nobody in the working class feels like they have a purpose anymore. This is not a uniquely male issue. It's why I'm so pissed off when right-wingers and red pillars talk about this stuff, because they miss the mark by a lot. They try to blame... They try to blame women through popular culture, if that makes sense. And I don't think that's the way to go about it. I also don't think that pointing to non-unique issues is good. There is something that is clearly unique to men that's causing the male loneliness issue, because we're not seeing anything close to that represented in women.
Or career that's fulfilling and pays well, or a woman or family to protect and take care of and provide for.
And, like, it does strike me.
And I will also say that statistic that we were looking at also lends... Here, let me bring it back up. Let me bring back up the chart. This statistic also tells us something pretty important about the way incels think and the way they interpret this data. If 28% of men aren't having sex at around this age demographic, and only 18% of women in that age demographic are not having sex, that means that while the group of men who are sexually active is shrinking, the amount of women who are sexually active with that shrinking group of men is not shrinking. This means that the sexually active group of men, while it is shrinking, at least this is how incels will interpret it, while the sexually active group of men is shrinking, the amount of women those men are getting is not. So they see it as like dating shrink, like dating inflation, I guess is the way to describe it. They see it as like basically the real life trend being represented as what we see on the dating apps. Now, obviously, that isn't exactly a correct interpretation of the data, because that data tracks the sexual activity of women and men in a specific demographic, like in a specific age demographic. So when you account for older men and older women and like whatnot, then you're very quickly going to figure out, well, okay, maybe that's not the case as much as you would think. But technically, as an effect, it is true that we are seeing the pool of sexually active men shrink, while the pool of sexually active women does not. And that really feeds into the incel worldview of, like, the Chads get nonstop, like, sex with women, and the incels, us normal guys can't get a girl. And of course it's bullshit, because most of this stuff is literally all in their heads. But if a massive group of people, a massive demographic of people, all have something up with them in their head that is making them think like this, we got to acknowledge it.
As disingenuous to at once say that men feel undervalued because they're unable to be providers, which is obviously true and a serious problem, and then go on to say that men are natural providers, a phrase which insists that men are correct, that their value is based on how well they provide for others.
This is a good argument from Thoughtslime here.
Suggests that if a man's partner or family does not require him to provide for them, they are somehow robbing him of his natural position. This is, in my view, rather ironically, precisely the type of gender essentialism that creates the loneliness and depression she is ostensibly so concerned with. The idea of men just being naturally the providers is the justifying logic of patriarchy.
Actually, a good argument from Thoughtslime.
Of course, it's not that non-men have been forbidden from or kept out of positions where they could provide for themselves. It's simply that men are, by nature of being men, naturally seeking out those positions and do them better because of their natural provider vibes. You see this logic applied each and every time some dickhead claims the wage gap doesn't exist and that women simply choose jobs which pay less. No thought is given as to why women choose those positions or why those positions are paid less. That's just what women do naturally because
it feels like these lefty video essayist YouTubers, like their takes stopped being based post 2018, or like post 2018. Oh, my light's timed out. Hold on a second, guys. Oh, hold on. I gotta do this until both of them turn on. Come on. I hate that one controller controls both things, but like in the worst way. Come on. Come on. Like maybe if I do it like this. Like if I hide the signal from the other light. Oh, there we go. There we go. Nice. Boomer Zan? No, I'm not a boomer. It's just these lights are finicky, okay? These lights are real finicky. It feels as though, like, these lefty breadtube video essayist types, like their takes got frozen at 2018. The takes they were having back then, the videos they were making back then, based as fuck. But then from that point on, it was extremely hit and miss. So when it's like repeating a talking point that they had back then, like this one about how like these standards are what are making men lonely and everything, completely correct, completely fine. But when it comes to more like current culture war topics and responding to the right on them, they completely go off base. It's like whenever they say something they would have said back then, they go back to being their old selves for a moment, but then they go straight back to being their current selves. All right, I'm less interested in this now, so let's see what's going on later on.
To that reasoning. You can see that, for example, when she brings up women being more likely to go to post-secondary education, as though that implies men are, if anything, actually economically disadvantaged, that we have overcorrected, and now men are the ones being held back. But like, those figures change a lot when you compare graduation rates for fields that are more likely to make lots and lots of money. At one point, she talks about how the Tumblr feminists she was mocking back in the day
Yeah, Sean Head's, like, anti-wage gap stuff has always been stupid.
Are now transphobes, and thus, we all should have cut her some slack back then.
90% of all homicides recorded worldwide were committed by male perpetrators. We should just get rid of all males, to be honest. This includes trans women, as they still retain male violence. By the way, you know the Tumblr feminists who were like, all men are sexist and rapists, male tears, penises are evil, blah 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 back in the day? Well, this is them now. Should have just let me cook back then.
I think there are a few problems with what she's saying here. I think that there are, for example, a lot of valid criticisms of Tumblr-style pop feminists.
Dude, it's so weird. It's so weird when she virtue signals about how, like, some women online are misandrist and hate men so much it makes them transphobic. But then, at the same time, she is literally married to a guy who was so uncomfortable with discussions of people that were in the group, in Seanhead's group chat, with them discussing, like, gay marriage because there was a lesbian couple in there, that they had to ban the discussion of that topic as not to offend Seanhead's at the time boyfriend, now husband, because he's that, like, offended by gay people and like trans people and stuff. It's crazy to see her virtue signal, like, against transphobia. It's crazy.
And I think chief among those criticisms is a culture of toxic performative inclusion, where people climb over one another to tick more diversity boxes rather than meaningfully examine the power dynamics between different types of people in any sincere way. And of course, no doubt some Tumblr-style hyper-online feminist keyboard warriors have grown turfy in old age.
Okay, I'm sorry. I can't hear Thoughtslime of all people use that as like a pejorative when that is Thoughtslime. I can't. Like, Thoughtslime can't describe themselves and then use it as a pejorative without any self-awareness whatsoever and expect me to keep with it. I can't. Gah. I can't do it. I can't take any more. They're both so insufferable. They're both so insufferable. I hope you guys enjoyed my suffering as I watched two people that I really don't like fight. It was a little fun, but it was more miserable, honestly. How do you guys like that segment? Feel like it came out pretty good. Over 500 people watching. God damn. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. I really appreciate it. Another great segment? Thank you. I, of course, have more that I will be doing for you guys today. Alright, everyone. You all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. Alright, everybody. So, oh, this drama, this topic, this scenario just hurts me at a very deep and personal level. You see, I grew up on YouTube content. I watched a lot of different gaming YouTubers primarily growing up. And so when any of them has some drama, like, I don't know, say a favorite Minecraft YouTuber of mine ends up getting outed as a rapist, or like a pedophile or something, and it's like, wow, childhood ruined, nice. I'm not a big fan of that. And it happened again recently, but arguably with a slightly less problematic drama. You see, one of my favorite gaming YouTubers is The Completionist, or was The Completionist, I should say. He used to do a lot of collaborative content with other gaming YouTubers I liked. I remember he played through, I think, Resident Evil 7 with Jesse Cox, and that playthrough was really fun, I remember. And, I don't know, I really like The Completionist. I really liked him, at least. And apparently, for the last 5 years, I believe, he's been doing an annual charity stream to raise money for Alzheimer's, research. In the name of his mom, who died of Alzheimer's. 10 years now? Holy shit. Here's the thing, though. Mudahar, or some ordinary gamers, a friend of mine in the YouTube space, ended up doing some investigation with another YouTuber named Carl Jobst. These are like investigative journalist YouTubers within like this sphere. And, you know, I know it sounds like kind of a meme, like investigative journalist YouTubers, but they do their job damn well. And they were able to find out through public tax filings that, holy fuck, all of the money from this charity over the last like 6 years has just been accumulating in an account and has yet to be donated. This, of course, ended up being huge. And people are talking about it. People are curious about what the deal is. I have not kept up with anything beyond what I watched on stream in my last segment about this. Apparently, Muda has made an update video that, like, is going to fill us in on what's kind of occurred up to this point now. And I'm curious to see if we've gotten, like, a good response from the Completionist, if the money has been donated, if this was all a provable misunderstanding. I don't want this to be that, like, the bad ending, right? I'm not hoping for the bad ending here. I swear to God. I really like his content. Yeah, Muda is really good at investigating crypto scams, you're right. There will, of course, be a link to this video down below in the description and as the pinned comment, so please go send some support over to Muda's original video. Don't just watch my version of it. We're, of course, not going to be watching the whole thing on here, but we're going to watch, like, a sizable chunk of it to get the gist, you know?
Hello, guys and gals, me, Mudahar, and today we're going to do a little update video. Now, about a week ago, I made a video in regards to The Completionist and a possible charity situation where $655,000 has not been donated to as of today. Now, as of me filming this video right now, there's been no actual statement from The Completionist, from anybody associated with the Open Hand Foundation. It's been almost a week, and let's just say it's a little bit irregular, but not really. Let me get into exactly what it is. So to give you a recap of the situation, me and Carl Jobst looked into the Open Hand Foundation, specifically their IRS tax filings, and we came to a finding, a very large discrepancy, where $0 was donated to charities, despite statements being made throughout the year's various indie land fundraising drives.
That raises money for dementia research and treatment for organizations all over the world. We're soon going to be partnering up with the Alzheimer's Association, currently working with the University of San Francisco, and we're kind of one of their main funding support partners.
Dude, if this ends up being some bullshit, and he was scamming the people who donated to this charity, it might actually be one of the scummiest scams ever committed in the history of YouTube. I think it might actually end up being worse than CryptoZoo, worse than most, like, NFT scams. Like, I actually think it would be the #1 most, like, downright evil scam ever committed by a YouTuber. Like, worse than Rice Gum, fake GTA videos, and fake gift card giveaways. Like, so much worse than any of that.
Going into all of this.
An event that was ran by Gerard, the Completionist, where money was raised by fans, by industry veterans, by big companies, small and large donations, and unfortunately, none of it seemed to actually make its way towards any of these charities, the benefactors that the Open Hand Foundation listed on their website, or the few organizations that Gerard had explicitly mentioned in his various indie land streams. So to give you an idea of it, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give you an update of exactly what's happened, some of the new findings, and a bit of a response to some of the criticism me and Carl had received in our initial videos that dropped about a week ago. So to give you an idea, I'm going to flashbang you with a few quotes from individuals that were a little bit angry, a little wilded out that me and Carl looked into this in the first place. One of them is from Pro Jared. You might recognize Pro Jared from his own controversy several years ago, but Jared decided to butt into this and provide his logical, sage advice. Pro Jared says, "This is horseshit. They're both making a lot of assumptions and accusations without being able to actually prove anything." Yeah, the problem with that, Pro Jared, is we looked at publicly filed statements.
Yeah, ooh. Like, Pro Jared definitely got fucked over by the internet and false reporting, don't get me wrong, but, this is clearly him coping to try and defend his friend. They literally, like, when you're a tax-exempt charity organization, your tax filings are public. They are publicly searchable through the IRS's government website. It's not very hard to find it. Muda and Carl Jobs showed all of the evidence. They showed all of the, the receipts. These are government documents. These are literally government documents. They cannot be faked. They are publicly available on government websites, government documents. They are not fake. They cannot be faked.
And documents from the Internal Revenue Service of the United States. Also, we had Gerard on a call. But see, Pro Jared wouldn't know that because he never watched the videos. In the statement, he says, almost like they're presenting the worst and trying to get views off of it. Dog, I am a larger channel than The Completionist. If anything, I'm fine getting views no matter what I upload.
He is,
They didn't bother trying to reach.
This is cope as fuck. Yeah, no. The Completionist is big, but The Completionist is not Mudahar big, nor is The Completionist. I don't even think Carl Jobs big. So, yeah, this is the go-to copium response of YouTuber who's bigger than you is clout chasing. Often, like they're bigger. They're not clout chasing presently, at least.
Reach out to Gerard about it. No due diligence. If Pro Jared stopped playing RPGs and watched my video for at least 10 minutes, he would realize that, yes, I am in fact talking to Gerard.
People do the same defense of Hassan. Whenever I criticize Hassan, I get accused of clout chasing every time.
The Completionist. One of the most important parts about this story was the call we had with the Completionist and getting Gerard's side of this story. Now here I want to answer two questions. question number 1, why did we look into this in the first place? There was a few people that asked in my mentions on the YouTube comments for that video and generally all over Reddit as to why me and Carl even looked into this charity in the first place. To give you the most the baseline answer here, Carl was tipped off about it, Carl looped me into the situation, and that's why we looked in. On my channel, you can email me, you can hit me up on Twitter DMs, and give me a tip-off for any weird, shady shenanigan you find in YouTube. Normally, I look through almost all of them, and most of them aren't really worth looking into because it's usually just a jilted fan. When Carl looped me in about The Completionist, a YouTuber that I respected, we looked into the IRS filings, and the reason we covered this video is once we found these massive discrepancies, it was no longer a matter of let's make this video for, again, content, it's make this video out of a sake of ethical concern. So again, that's the very simple answer to that first question. The other question that was basically being asked...
What is it, like $650,000 that's currently sitting in that bank account? That's a lot of goddamn money. I don't think that Muda has to make, like, an argument in favor of, here's why I think it matters that money hasn't gone to where he said it was going to go. It's $650K, dude. Like, dude, you don't even need to engage with this bad faith shit. Like, you don't even have to. It's beyond embarrassing that anybody would say that when the evidence and the receipts are this available. They're government... It kind of reminds me of when people tried to say that I was lying about the Lonnie thing, but then it's like, hey, arrest records are literally publicly available. There's nothing better than your receipts coming from a publicly available government database. There's nothing better than that. There's no way that can be faked.
Asked around is, did you catch Gerard off the call? How did you even organize this call to begin with? And for our record's sake, I want to show you guys that we did our best diligence in this. Now...
Wait! My vape died. I'll be right back. I gotta plug my weed vape into the wall. It's so Jover. I gotta wait for my weed vape to recharge. I actually have this one that does have some charge in it, but it's a Blue Dream vape. And it has something in it called pinene that I'm pretty sure I'm actually allergic to. Ever since I stopped hitting this vape, this, like, consistent scratch I've had in my throat has gone away. And whenever I take a hit, it comes back. So the question is, do I bite the bullet and hit this while I wait, or not? We'll see. We'll see how much I crave.
Once Carl had sent his letter out to Open Hand Foundation with his first and last name, clearly the red alerts were sent up all over the Open Hand Foundation, the Completionist, and Gerard's family. They knew that Carl was looking into it. Now, on November 10th, 2023, I had hit up Gerard and asked him, hey man, this is over Twitter DMs, I was wondering if you'd be free for a call today. We got tipped off about a discrepancy with your guys' charity, Open Hand Foundation. Just wanted to run some of the public documents with you and get your side of the story. Doing due diligence here. Now, Gerard responded to me a couple hours later and said, yeah, man, of course. I figured this was going to come up sooner rather than later, and that something huge was coming. It's been building the last couple of days, obviously when Carl had sent his inquiry and they had their back and forth with Jacques. I'm in the middle of meetings for the next hour or so. Would you give me a couple hours? So obviously, I realized at this point, maybe this was never going to happen. Clearly, when I heard the words, they're in the middle of meetings, I thought that Gerard was probably talking to a lawyer. And lawyers will tell you to shut the fuck up, no matter what. So at this moment in time, I kind of gave up and didn't really think that I was going to get any
I don't think he was talking to a lawyer, or if he was, he did not listen to that lawyer, because he did get on Discord.
Response. Of course, Gerard gave me his Discord information, and I said, okay, sweet, I sent you a request. Let me know when you're good to call. I need a couple hours here myself, too. I was stuck in the office myself, so, again, there was no catching anybody off guard. He knew what the call was about, and he had several hours to prepare with his team to give us a proper, logical, thought-out answer. So obviously, later that evening, you listened to the call that we obviously played on our videos. So again, that answers the second question as well. I saw a few people talking about this and saying that maybe we caught him off guard and he didn't know anything. He had a few hours to prepare. He had a whole meeting with his team, and that's pretty much how it came out to. The happenings of that call played out the way that they did, of course, after preparation. Again, I didn't expect this call to happen because I thought lawyers would come in. Now, a bit of the other criticism that we had over here was when Dexerto, unfortunately, made a pretty damning headline. So, Dexerto, on the day of us releasing the video, said YouTuber The Completionist is being called out for allegedly pocketing charity funds.
No. This is actually what I hate about the internet game of telephone. At no point has the accusation been that The Completionist pocketed it. It's still in the bank account, sitting there, every last bit of it, except what's been pulled out for pretty reasonable, like, administration fees each time they do the charity event, that they take that out in order to make the event, to pay for the event. And it's a reasonable amount of money. It's what you would expect, right? And that they've disclosed that. That's not anything shady. The problem is the money is still there. It hasn't been donated. And people are under the impression that when they donate, that money's in a reasonable amount of time going to end up being used for Alzheimer's research, right? And it's not. It's been sitting there for half a decade. And that's the problem. The accusation has not been that he pocketed the money. It's that he has yet to donate it.
Under this post from Dexerto was mine and Carl's videos. Now, nowhere in our videos did we ever say that the money was being pocketed. The money just existed in the bank accounts for the charity as according to the filings. And clearly, according to the filings, $0 was donated into these charities. So again, nothing that me and Carl said was, I guess, factually incorrect according to the statements. Dexerto made a pretty shitty headline. Now, in Dexerto's credit, they removed this.
Yeah, it actually sucks, too, because that $650,000 that was raised, like, that money is worth less now than it was, like, 4 or 5 years ago before COVID and all the inflation and the pandemic and recession and whatnot.
Amended it, and even one of their heads contacted me and told me
not by
they
a lot,
fucked up.
but
so again, I got to give them some level of respect where respect is due. But again, this tainted the well pretty bad. So again, other creator says, I didn't watch the full videos of accusations, but like, why is this stuff even public? Because the tax filings are public, you idiot. Like, they even tried talking to him first. Again, why even throw your fucking hat into the ring if you haven't watched the videos? If you watched 10 minutes, not even the whole video, you would realize that, yes, I did my due diligence.
Yeah, Dexerto is actual gruel. Like, they're slop. There is pretty much most Twitter accounts that are known for posting media or drama news are just slop accounts, and you should not follow them on Twitter, and they are bad.
Me and Carl did. So again, another creator says, wild drama. Didn't expect to get involved in one. This isn't drama. One other creator says, this is unethical, immoral, and potentially illegal activity. That's not drama. See, this is an adult responding. So again, here's another genius. It looks like a couple of YouTubers looking to gain some sort of fame. Bro, my channel is magnitudes larger. What fame am I looking for? Again, this isn't a dick measuring contest. It's just simply destroying your fallacy. There have been several times when charitable money was donated to the wrong organization, and they did move it to something else. I trust Gerard. Again,
dude, it is not that hard as a YouTuber to find a reputable organization to donate your money to, okay? There are entire websites that are, like, very well known. Like I think it's called Charity Watchdog or something. I forget exactly what its name is, but I'm pretty sure you guys in chat know. That's literally a non-for-profit site that's whole goal is, like, investigating and verifying charities to ensure that they are, like, legit. So if you have a charity you want to donate to, you can look it up on that site and find out whether or not it's legit. And the sites that do that, the, like, very well-known ones, have a very high, like, rate of being correct. Yeah, like, the Trevor Project is a good example of a charity that's, like, very well-known. There's probably not any shady shit going on there, right?
This wouldn't be a story had these statements been properly made. My personal favorite is incredibly depressing that over the last few years, we've ping-ponged from no YouTuber is ever held accountable ever to knockoff Keemstar found some weird paperwork. Better cancel Gerard's entire bloodline. Yeah, I guess to this idiot, that weird paperwork is an actual IRS filing. Again, please enter.
Yeah, dude. You know when people start resorting to weird and, like, weirdos and knockoff Keemstar as, like, an insult response to receipts, it's just copium. They're just trying to, like, appeal to their own audience and appeal to the existing audience that doesn't like said YouTubers that are calling them out.
To the real world, please become a fucking adult. That's all I ask, okay? Simple as put out. Now I'm going to respond to some pretty accurate criticism. This was posted by an account known as The Little Wooly. Now, this was shared around a lot, and this is actually the account of an individual that claims to work as an accountant for a nonprofit 501c3 organization for 7.5 years now, with, I guess, an additional 2 years in the accounting profession.
Okay.
I'm not here to, disprove or question anybody's credentials. I'm going to take his word for it, okay? It is what it is. So he says he looks at the situation. He says the Open Hand Foundation is a small, family-run foundation, and while having $600,000 in the bank is quite a bit of money, in reality, it's a tiny amount in the grand scheme of things. So while, yes, they should have probably sent the money off to be used for research after years of collecting the money, it seems to me, based on Gerard was saying in the videos, that not only were they wanting to find the right organization to give the money to, that they wanted to make sure the money is actually used for dementia research. Which, yes, Gerard said they wanted to, I guess, evaluate the right, partner. And that's even what they wrote in their statement. They wanted to make sure their money was actually sent to the right.
5 years? That's the thing, though, right? Like, it took 5 years? Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, Mr. Beast, they do charity as, they breathe. They do charity like they breathe. Granted, these are much larger, more popular, and wealthy YouTubers, but, they're donating much bigger funds in much shorter periods of time to charities, and they're not having any problem finding ones that are reputable. Certainly not, it's not taking them years. That's why it comes off as so insincere when they say, we're just trying to find the right charity. Yeah, Jacksepticeye does a yearly charity called Thankmas.
Right place. Had this been proper public knowledge on the Indieland website, the Open Hand Foundation website, and those streams, this wouldn't even be a video. Had people just known their money was being stockpiled rather than, being told that, yes, we're raising money for dementia research and we're working with so and so. So again, the response here is...
Is it dementia or is it Alzheimer's? I thought it was Alzheimer's. Did I mix it up? I could have sworn it was Alzheimer's and not dementia. Did I just misremember? It's Alzheimer's. Okay. I'm pretty sure dementia is it's either Alzheimer's is a symptom of dementia or dementia is a symptom of Alzheimer's. I think dementia is a symptom of Alzheimer's because Alzheimer's is a disease that causes degeneration of your brain matter. And I think dementia can manifest as a symptom of that. So they're not the same thing, but they're tied in together to a degree. Alzheimer's is a form of dementia. Oh, so I have it wrong. It's the other way around. Okay, my bad. I guess dementia is a broad term for degenerative brain conditions. Dementia is a broader category that includes Alzheimer's. So is it just a category for... I'm just going to Google it. Fuck it, I'm curious. A condition characterized by progressive or persistent loss of intellectual functioning, especially with impairment of memory and abstract thinking, and often with personality change resulting from organic diseases of the brain. Okay, yep. Cool. So dementia is the broad umbrella category for anything that causes consistent degeneration of brain function.
This is where I have a few issues with Mudahar's video. Why not just donate it? Organizations ask for as little as $35. Yes, I said that. So this person enlightens, and this is actually good information. For a general unrestricted donation, from the sounds of it, Open Hand would really like the money to be focused on a specific purpose, or as we would say, they want their donation to be restricted. Now, for a smaller nonprofit like where I work, we take in a lot of small amounts to be used for restricted causes, such as use in a specific program to buy certain items. Larger national or multinational organizations like the Alzheimer's Association are too big to track those tiny donations. As Gerard says, the money would go to waste. And if you want your money to not just go into the hands of a CEO or other administrative costs, you want to see some tracking of your money going to work for the desired cause. So he also says you can't pin the money still being there on Gerard. He has only one vote in a foundation with other members of his family. That is true. But we'll get to this in a little bit. So yes, it's true. I learned about unrestricted and restricted donations. Now, according to Investopedia, restricted donations, when a donor determines, typically fund designation is specified in writing.
The donor determines if the funds are to be restricted. Typically, fund designation is specified in writing in what is termed the gift instrument. Foundations that provide restricted funds often describe how they want their money allocated when they distribute the reward. Nonprofit organizations can avoid confusion about how they intend to spend a donor's funds by offering a choice of designation. A cancer research nonprofit, for example, could give donors a choice to allocate their funds to any one of breast, skin, or brain cancer clinical trials. So here's my issue. I'm not seeing anything here that says there's like a floor to how small the donation can be for most Alzheimer research charities for it to be a restricted donation that you can say, here is where I want the money to go for the charity. Like, I don't see anything that says it has to be a certain amount of money. And I didn't see anything in that person's explanation that really explained why the money would be going to a CEO if it wasn't a big amount. Like, why did it need to be hoarded for 5 years? Like, surely each year, or maybe even by year 2, each year they were making enough money to just make the donations and make them restricted donations with whatever charity they choose. Also, you can't really say he has no power over this when it's his reputation on the line. With the fact that everybody sees it as the completionist's charity means that he should have a much bigger vote, realistically. Like, this is run on his channel. He hosts it. Like, he's the guy. It's the completionist's charity. It's in his mom's name.
In what is termed the gift instrument. Foundations that provide restricted funds often describe how they want their money allocated when they distribute the award. Nonprofit organizations can avoid confusion about how they intend to spend the donor's fund by...
Restricted donations can be any amount. Yeah, it feels like a nothing argument, you know?
Offering a choice of designation. A cancer research nonprofit, for instance, could give donors a choice to allocate their funds to any one of breast, skin, or brain cancer clinical trials. So again, while this could very much be true, let's go further into this actual breakdown. Why wouldn't they just donate, XXX instead of just 35? Come on, Mudahar! Can't you think of any organization, nonprofit and or for-profit, that would refuse to make your money their money? They'll gladly take your $35 and use it how they see fit, which may be to add it to the CEO's salary. Which is fine, right? Like, obviously I get it. They want to build a large enough money where they can restrict it and make sure that a CEO doesn't get it. But again, this should have been relayed. So again, he also comes up and...
Also, where is the evidence that that amount can't be restricted? Where's the claim that, like, up until now, or even now, there's not enough money to make a restricted donation that can specifically be allocated to the charity's choice of research? But it's a my mom's talking from the other room. You guys can't hear it. She said something, but it's a non-for-profit. So it's like, it's tax exempt. That's why we're able to see these IRS documents in the first place. So it's not for tax reasons. Could it be the tax reasons for the institution they're donating to, maybe? That doesn't really, that would be a poor defense. If they're doing it just for the tax benefits of the organization they're donating to? I don't know. Well, let's continue.
Tells us about the IRS filings, where he discusses that the signatures, Carl actually focused how some filings didn't have signatures, and I would have to imagine, personally, my involvement with the IRS, the CRA, and all these organizations, electronic signatures sometimes don't show up in public filings. I don't know if it's a privacy complaint or something of that nature, but that's maybe the only logical response I can think about it. If you don't have a signature, I think that's like an immediate audit, okay? But again, I'm not a CPA, so again, please make sure to talk to a CPA. This is just what I've heard relayed.
To my knowledge, the org sets the limit. Yeah, but why wouldn't they just find an org that has a limit that works for them? Like, I don't know. It's just... Let's watch.
From accountants that I've spoken to.
I want to believe that Gerard is, like, in the right. I want to believe that this is just an I want to believe that this is just a unfortunate mistake.
And are very bare bones, but you should blame that on the CPA firm that made them. They could have easily broken the expenses down to specifics, but because of how small Open Hands is and how little in donations they bring in on a yearly basis, there's probably no regulation saying that the firm had to get specific. If the government wanted to look into this, I'm sure all the paperwork for things like lawyer fees, accounting fees, filing fees, insurance, costs, etc. are there, and the CPA firm has probably seen all of them. So again, yeah, he says the drama seems a bit overblown.
Camera's
what
out of
Little
focus.
Wooly fails to exactly go into it is how Gerard claimed in our own interview that he had all this...
Yes, this is basically the biggest argument against Gerard, is how much his story changed in the Discord interview that they did in the previous video, where at the start Gerard has like no way of explaining what happened, and then like after a bit of the conversation has passed and he's had some time to think, he comes up with a story. At least that's how it came off to me, as he came up with a story. Yeah. The fact that he contradicts himself in audio form is really rough to see. In that call, he literally said nothing. At the beginning, he says that he has, like, basically no idea what happened. He doesn't know what to tell them. And then, like, 5-10 minutes later, he's explaining, well, I actually, we're saving up the money. I heard about this recently, the money still being there and this being a problem. And, you know, I've been wanting to solve it, but then I got reached out to by Carl, and I didn't want to make it look like I was only donating the money now to avoid consequences. And it just came off as really weak. It came off as really weak, guys. Watch my original video on this if you want to see what I'm talking about. It came off as not the best defense from him in audio form.
This money, right, sitting in the account, and he knew about this since at least 2022. In the video, he said 2021, but I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to Gerard, and I'm just going to let you listen and say that he mentioned 2022. So, irregardless, I'm going to show you a clip after you heard this call once again that doesn't really make it better.
I knew it was sitting there at a certain point, and that's what made me proactively go about it. Like,
do you know when that point was?
I was made aware in 2021 when the money hadn't moved yet, and that's what made me go, "That's not fucking cool." And that's when I got personally involved to move it. And
did anyone?
What year? 2021. He clarified to 2022. Dude, his story changes so much in that audio call. It's actually crazy how many times his story changes. It's really rough, dude.
Last year, 2022.
Yeah, did anyone tell you that the money was going somewhere before then? Were you being misled?
No. No one told me anything. I assumed that it was all going to a charity, and I assumed incorrectly.
So now that Gerard has said that he was notified about this since, like, I guess 2021, 2022, listen to this podcast that Gerard was on November 4th, 2023, this year. So this is the Friends Per Second podcast, episode 33. This is up on SkillUp's channel. I want to also stress for the record, none of these people have anything to do with this. They actually made a really good response to this situation in their most recent podcast episode, but I'm going to play this clip, and it's pretty damning. Listen to this.
Do our own version of that every year and kind of make it a cool celebration of games and raise money for a charity. And so he was like, I wish we had a charity that we could donate to. And I was like, oh, I run my own charity called the Open Hand Foundation, and all the money that we aggregate, I started it when I was a young boy with my dad in honor of my mom who had dementia. And so we just every year.
Dude, I really hope he's telling the truth, man. I really hope he's telling the truth. I really, really hope he's telling the truth with like every fiber of my being.
Year we try to raise as much money as possible, and then we go work with Alzheimer's Association of America, University of San Francisco, Association for FTD, which is what my mom had, FTD. So we've like worked with big and small organizations across the board, and he was like, it'd be really cool if we did a show.
Yeah, the fact that in the statement, they say they've been looking for the right organizations, and they're listing organizations they've worked with is,
all about raising money for people who are making huge headways in dementia research and prevention and all that stuff. And I said, yeah, I'd love to. We have the organization to do it. We just, need to come up with a theme. And so I literally am about to like donate all this money today. And prior to that, earlier this week and the week before, and I've just been sitting here crippled trying to figure out the best way to handle this, because I felt like if I donated the money the minute you guys emailed me, it'd be a situation of, well, he's trying to hide it and he's admitting guilt by doing that.
Well, what? No. Honestly, no. If he donated it right away, what would people have to be angry about at this point? His fans would have an anchor point to defend him from. Like, hey, the money got donated. So, like, yeah, I actually think that the right thing to do was to donate the money as soon as supposedly he found out shit was fucked.
And I never felt that way, but I understand completely that you guys could easily argue that, and it would just make me look more like a scumbag. And, I just wanted, I want to do right by you guys and what you think. When you guys got the email and I said, please tell us about benefactors, that was genuine, because I haven't found a benefactor that I'm completely happy with. And I want to make sure that this money goes to a good cause and
He claims he hasn't found a benefactor despite publicly listing charitable organizations that the charity has supposedly worked with. We saw the list he gave on that podcast a minute ago. It doesn't look good because the contradictions are plentiful, and it's not great.
Honor of my mom, and I'm upset that the conversations I've had haven't gone the way that I wanted. And I'm willing at this point to just donate the money to whoever. I want it to go in the right spot.
Now again, I played that clip for all context, okay? I extended that to make sure that people could realize that in this he mentions specific charity names. Now remember, back to the definition of charity fraud that we talked about, it's pretty f***ed up when behind the scenes you're telling us that you're still evaluating charities, you're asking us which charities to work with, while conversely, actually mentioning them by name publicly in live streams, less than 14 days old at this point. Ladies and gentlemen, this gets into some serious false statements. And again, I could imagine what the government of the United States or the state of California would think about this situation. Again, this is very, very, very damning shit to witness. And again, that call Gerard had with us probably was one of the dumbest decisions he could have made, because in that call, he confirmed with us that the money was in the account. And again, we took his word for it.
But the important thing is that all the money is still in the account. None of it's spent erroneously. It's all above board. Like it's not.
Doesn't break the charity promises though. Yeah, I mean, enough. I feel like it's enough that there is a universe I can see in which this is all a misunderstanding, right? I can see a universe existing where this is all a misunderstanding. That could be the one we're in. I'm just getting less sure the further into this drama we get.
Not hiding in a Cayman account or anything like that.
Again, I am believing Gerard at his word at that time, and I'm looking at the tax filings. If they claim to have $655,000 in an account, then just donate it. The fact that these guys have not made a statement yet, and again, I get it. This is an issue of criminality. Obviously, lawyers are going to be vetting everything that you say. But I think when you tell me and Carl that you have the money sitting in the account, then you should at least show a bank statement. Show a bank statement as soon as you can that verifies the account is still, filled with that cash. And then donate it, right? What's really fucked up in this situation is even if the account has that money, over the years, through inflation, it has lost its buying power.
That's what I said before. Holy shit. Yeah, no, it has. Yeah, that's the big thing, right? Because when did this all start? Like 2018, 2017 is when the money started accumulating in that account. So, like, we've had COVID, a recession, and just all sorts of bullshit happen. So much inflation go down since then. So, yeah, the buying power of that money has gone down, not by a lot, but by a bit. So if it had been donated sooner, it would have gone to a slightly more tangible amount of good than it can now.
And because of that, that money has less of an effect than had it been donated in the years that it was raised. That's the real problem with the situation. It's not even just that the money is sitting there. It's that as it continues to sit there, from all we know, it's just losing its value. Again,
is there any possibility maybe that the money is stored in an account that has a interest rate? Because you can gain interest on having money in a savings account. If it's not to a checking account, many savings accounts with a lot of banks have accruing interest. So while it's a very small amount, it's possible it could have at least taken a chunk out of, or maybe even overcame inflation with that much money in the account. Like, it's a lot of money in the account. So the percentage increase from a potential accruement would be possibly able to outdo inflation. Someone who knows the economy better than I and is able to do the math over the course of these years would have to figure this out. And I don't even know if, like, you would need to know that bank's interest rate. You would have to know whether or not it's saved in an account that even has an accruing interest for your savings. Like, it could be in a checking account, and those don't really do that usually, at least from my experience. So, yeah, it's hard to say.
The important question is, can we even see if the money is still in the account? All we have is to go off of Gerard's words, which, unfortunately, because of his statements, he is not a truthful individual as far as my opinion is considered. Beyond that, according to their tax filings, yes, I'm going to look at them and say they probably have the money in the account. But the tax filing is not a bank statement. So we don't even know yet, all right? And I think that's kind of safe to say. Right now, the question is the money there? If it's there...
Yeah, I mean, her and Shonen, at the very least, we can say his goal was probably not to pocket it. That's like the best thing he has going for him right now, is that the money has remained untouched in the account up until the point of the most recent tax filing.
and show people that yes, the money is there, we're going to be doing an accurate accounting and just donate it to the parties that we claim to be donating to. At the end of the day, that's really the best possible ending to this scenario. Look, like I said in my previous video, at best, this is severely gross negligence. And even then, that doesn't protect you criminally. And at worst, if the money isn't there, we are getting into a serious, illegal situation. And I kind of wish that the people who were complaining about the story would have actually seen this, right? Again, one of the responses was, again, to that little...
It started in 2014, okay.
Wooly post. This is where my mind is at, considering Gerard is always having his ass out for communities, charities, and developers, where the others two, me and Carl, are just drama sensationalist YouTubers. Again, I'm sorry that your brain cells are so cooked that you think possible criminal action is just drama, when it's really not. This is a matter of ethics, this is a matter of people being defrauded, potentially, allegedly, and it should be rectified as soon as possible. Even Little Wooly said, yes, I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit on some of the more common responses. They held the money for 10 years. Agree. Not a good look. Would have been better to publicly disclose that info. That's literally what me and Carl said. As I said in the replies, name-dropping orgs is a bit weird when the money hasn't exchanged hands, although I hope my guess of large restricted donations is what is actually being planned. Again, this is just him being hopeful that these are large restricted donations.
Yeah, everything at Lil Wooly, the person who wrote that entire list of paragraphs, is claiming is speculation. Like all of what they've said is speculation, but Muda and Carl have provided government tax documents that are publicly available and impossible to fake. That's the thing.
Again, the original post is just my guess based on my professional experience and what I've seen or heard in these videos. I could be completely wrong, but I hope I'm onto something. Again, Little Wooly is also speculating in the situation, and yeah, I appreciate his actual response into the situation. I do wish that he also addressed...
I don't like Muda's attitude. He seems hungry at the bit for me. Nothing to say on the content, though. Seems weird to keep that much in a rando account for no reason. This is just always how Muda talks. Like, he's just a very animated guy. Like, he just talks this way. This is just how all of his videos are. He usually goes after crypto scammers and stuff. And, like, he does a lot of dark net videos where he goes over, like, weird, creepy shit on the dark web. Deep web shit or whatever.
Addressed those misleading statements. Now, even Gerard said he has a paper trail of all of his communication with these organizations, which I would love to see. I hope these get published in due time. Obviously, lawyers are going to have to check all of his statements before they ever go live. So at the behest of making this video longer than previous, I looked further into the Open Hand Foundation, and obviously, there was another event that was running the situation. PBD West Convenience Cup Challenge, which is a golf challenge that, of course, these guys were...
Another challenger has entered the ring. Holy fuck. I wasn't expecting this twist.
Running for quite a long time.
Literally another challenger.
Now this entire PBD West Convenience Cup Challenge had its own set of sponsorships. So as a company, you could give them up to $10,000 to get your company name featured throughout this golf tournament. There are photos from their actual golf tournament which showcases that some brands like Monster Energies, Rise Coca-Cola Bottling, Keurig Dr. Pepper, Pepsi, Core-Mark, a lot of these big brands are showing up in this situation. And again, even their own brand, also PBD West, shows up as well. So again, with these big brands like First Citizen Bank, I really hope they realize what they're getting into, where their money is going to. Because according to their own website right here, you write a check to the Open Hand Foundation. So alongside Indieland, it's this golf tournament that's also raising money as well. So there are a lot of parties that deserve actual answers that go beyond just gaming. The PBD West myself, this company, and in their success page, what I found really hilarious here was apparently they worked with Monster Energy, right? Now off the top, this doesn't seem like a massive deal,
1998?
but if you look closely, they mentioned this happened in 1998. What's insane about Monster...
Did Monster not... Yep, 2002, I thought so. Monster didn't exist back then. Monster's like a relatively new thing.
Monster Energy is it was actually introduced in April 18, 2002. And again, you can look at this by their trademark details. For instance, right here, you can see, according to Monster Energy, their first use in commerce date was literally 2002. I think it was April of 18th April of that year. So they could have waited 2 days to make it base, but generally the idea here is, again, it's hard to believe if they partnered with a company.
Yeah, they could have waited 2 days to make it based. It could have been 420.
Literally before, I guess, they were ever really known to the public. Maybe they had a time machine, but the more I looked into it, the weirder this website got.
I love that wording. They could have waited 2 days to make it based. Because it'd be 420. I don't know. There's something about that wording. Just so casually saying that and just moving straight on makes me chuckle.
But again, this is not necessarily pertinent to the charity, it's just one of these things that is stuck into my head, again, as I looked into it. So one weird discrepancy we also found recently was on the Alzheimer's Association. They actually had a blog that was talking about the completionist and how he shared the story of his mom and this foundation, and its blog post has actually just been removed. All right, literally, if you take the actual link off of Wayback Machine, put it into a web browser, you'll find out that, yeah, apparently even these charities are cutting their connections or ties publicly on their blogs, which doesn't really bode well. So I went further into this situation and looked into the state of California's Department of Justice charity lookup. So again, you can do this for yourself. Going to this link, rct.doj.california.gov, verification web search.aspx, facility equals Y. Yes, I'm going to spell the whole thing out. So even the 11-year-olds who were criticizing our video initially can go down this breadcrumb trail with us, okay? Yes, I am going to be sassy as Now in this situation, you can type the organization as Open Hand Foundation, and you'll find 3 versions of Open Hand. We're going to go to the one that's currently registered. So opening that one up, it'll give you details of this organization. And it'll also give you their various documents as well. Inside their documents, I looked through the founding papers, and in the founding papers, it was actually pretty noticeable where we found out in page 12, where it actually talks about, who's in the leadership. So for instance, Kaylee Khalil, the director, the only one to get, I guess, $1,000 in compensation, which, again, isn't that much. I assume that's for a formality's sake. So inside here it says, Magdalene Ibrahim plans to marry Charles Khalil. So I assume Magdalene is the new wife of Charles, obviously, as the statement has written. And in this, you can see that Gerard, Kelly, Magdalene, Jacques, Layla, Charles are listed as basically the directors of this operation. So in contrast to the original IRS documents, the California versions showcase they actually do work hours. So Gerard works 40 hours on this. And here, Gerard is providing marketing and promotion, which obviously he's doing through Indieland. And he's also evaluating...
Yeah, so it seems like most of the people involved are his family members. They all have the same last name as him, except for Magdalene Ibrahim, which is, or Bream? I don't know how to pronounce that last name, I'm sorry. Who seems to be like the one who gets paid because they seem to do the most work.
Waiting charities to donate to and consider fundraising activities. So according to this filing, Gerard is taking an active approach in looking for charities as well too. And being a director, he obviously has to know what's going on in this organization. See, he was told that the money was still sitting in the account, but that's me being very charitable. Again, I run businesses too, and being the director of my businesses, I know pretty much generally what's going on in all of them. I have to. Legally, I need to. But the point I'm trying to make is, being the director of an organization, a charity that is built on your dead mother's name, you should have at least a rough idea of what's going on. You can't just throw money into it and just pretend that it's gone. Take your sibling's word for it, okay? You should probably be looking into it at least every year as you're filing your taxes. I get that Gerard is a busy guy, I'm a busy guy too, but you all take time out of your day during tax season to check all of your, to dot your I's and cross your T's.
We Americans hate it.
So of course, some people have...
Is Muda Canadian? Don't they have, like, in Canada, do they make you file your own taxes where you have to, like, go over all your goddamn statements, go, like, add it all up, buy the fucking penny, the fraction of a penny, and then, like, make sure that you qualify for certain tax deductions and refunds, and make sure you don't accidentally check anything you're not supposed to, because if you say you have a dependent when you don't, that's like a big fucking deal. Like, do they still do that in Canada? Okay, yeah. I know in a lot of countries, they just straight up pull your taxes out of your paycheck. That's so much better. The reason why we don't have that here in America is that companies that offer services, like basically accounting companies, they lobby the government to keep us from having something like, I don't know, I think Switzerland, they just dock your taxes from your pay and that's it. And I think it's maybe included in purchases. And that's it. Like, there's no tax season. There's no, like, tax filing season where you have to go through all the bullshit. That's very, like, much a North America thing.
More control over this, like Magdalene Ibrahim, who apparently has 200 average hours worked at the company, which again, annually, that's not much at all, but they're the treasurer, management, and administration. So again, this seems like the person that has the most control over this operation. And I guess by definition, Charles. But Gerard should have some say, especially given that he is the face of this operation, especially through Indieland. One thing that I also looked through with their California filings that I guess I want to mention is, while in their actual 2022 filings, they mention how their book value is $655,520. Now, some people have said, could they have been skimming off interest? Again, this is in a cash, non-interest bearing loan.
There we go. We got an answer to that question I asked before. They are not accruing interest, which means the point Muda made earlier about the money losing buying power due to inflation stands true. That account and the money in that account is not gaining any accruement of wealth. None whatsoever to even try and, fight back against inflation. That's not good. It's definitely not good. That means Muda's argument from before completely stands.
Why? Which means that they don't have a savings account. They literally had no investments, no savings to offset the loss that they would get from inflation. Again, some charities do it, but this isn't really that much money for them to be thinking about investments, at least from my personal perspective. Now, in this statement, they said that the fair market value was $0. Dog, how can you have $655,000 in US currency and then say the fair market value is zero? That makes no sense. Again, the way that this is filed, I feel like the accountant over here just did not give a shit. Now, one of the things that I wanted to make a point of this is, do you want justice to be delivered? So I'm going to teach you guys how to report this properly. Now, obviously, the IRS may or may not look into this. They probably might be, but being that they're a federal agency, maybe the money isn't into them. If you want any agency to look into this, because they're pretty much...
The IRS is pretty on top of things. I do think the fact that nothing has really come out of this from the IRS already is a pretty good sign. Like 5 years and hundreds of thousands of, $650,000 at this point, supposedly being falsely filed and falsely handled in a felonious way. Like, that's gotta, that level of embezzlement would have been noticed by now. Maybe not 100% of the time, but, yeah. I feel like it would have been noticed, by now, right? More likely than not.
Much, obligated to. Check the state of California. Now, Gerard, the completionist, the Open Hand Foundation is hosted in the state of California, which, by the way, is the strictest fucking state in the union in regards to charities. So if you want something done, please go to the oag.california.gov/charities/complaints, fill out Form CT9, all right, print this out, write everything you need to, email it to the state of California, or click on the Contacts the Complaint program, enter your first, last name.
Dude, you know what this reminds me of, but obviously not evil, like what I'm about to use as an example was? When OnlyFans first started to become a thing, and, the incel dude bros were super pissed about it, so they did the thought audit. Who remembers the thought audit where, dudes were reporting women who did sex work in OnlyFans to the IRS back in, late 2018? It was, this big trend. Oh, you just got reported to the IRS. Enjoy your audit or whatever. And it's I'm pretty sure most of these women are probably paying their taxes. I think they're probably going to be fine. But, there was this idea that they weren't, so they did the thought audit. Yeah, incel dudes have been desperate to, harm women for a very long time. It's nothing new.
Your organization and tell them exactly why you think this charity should be investigated. I think it's pretty obvious by now. And with enough reports, the state of California at least has to...
Oh, yeah, for those that don't know what I mean, it's THOT audit, thought, the sexist term for woman.
...knowledge and start actual proceedings into investigating this charity. Again, I just care about money being donated. That's it. And I think at the end of the day, if Gerard has this money, he should prove that he has the money and donate it to the charities that he's claimed. Look, I wanted to make this video to basically address a lot of the criticisms that we got, which I think I fairly did. I wanted to look further into the situation and basically discover just the breadth of the work that Gerard was on with this charity.
I have to say, I think that Muda does some of the best investigative journalism on YouTube. He does befriend and, engage with some people that I'm not the biggest fan of politically. But overall, his takes are pretty good. My first time ever interacting with him was technically a video I did responding to him on a take he got wrong. I showed why he was wrong and my evidence for it. He ended up seeing the video, responding, "Oh shit, yeah, you're right." Corrected his position and ended up following me. And he generally has pretty damn good positions on most issues. It's like a very once in a blue moon thing that he sometimes misses because he's definitely not immersed in politics. It's easy to kind of just lack some of the context when a certain culture war issue kind of gets into your field of view. If you're not super into politics, you don't know the context. So this bit of culture war issue will come in front of you and you might take a position that looks good if you don't know the context, but then someone explains it to you and you're like, oh, yeah. Anyway, I think the video is really good. Please go send your support to Muda. He's one of the best content creators making videos like this. And I mean, if you're invested in this, then you definitely want to be tapped into the evolving story for sure. How'd you like that segment? I feel like it came out pretty good. Pretty happy with it. Feeling nice. Bringing up my links for the next segment, guys.
So a couple days.
Whoa! Chill out. Calm your ass down. Oxpecker, thank you so much for the $6.66. Nice, base number. I will have to... You know what I'll do, though? Because someone else donated a dollar amount and then a bit of a cent amount, and that's above 50 cents that you added there, I'll round it up to $7 in the dono goal. So I'm going to count it as a $7 donation because I hate having to type in the cent amounts. It makes it such a pain to keep updating the dono goal manually. It really does. So I'm rounding your donation up to $7. I'm rounding it up by less than 40 cents, but, you know, it's fine. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Oxpecker. Said, gotta try to make up for the L I took last time I sent a dono, chat. This TikTok from yesterday has 2,541 views and going up. Oh, this is from your TikTok.
I can really relate to the whole Thanksgiving
what the fuck? How do I
political debate.
I don't know how to verify my shit on TikTok. Get out of here. Okay, there we go. Now I think I can watch it. So Oxpecker said that this is from their TikTok. Okay, well, thank you so much for the donation. I really appreciate it. Views are going up. I guess this is about, like, arguing with family at Thanksgiving about politics. Nice drip, Oxpecker. I like the drip. Honestly, should I just start, like... I feel like you need to start dressing like I'm ready for the apocalypse. Like, I feel like you look like you could be in The Walking Dead and, like, be a survivor that's, like, just around getting by in the community that, like, the characters are in, Alexandria. Like, I should start dressing like subtle apocalypse core, you know?
They relate to the whole Thanksgiving political debate with the distant relatives shtick that people be talking about every year. Like, it's this whole tradition that happens every November with somebody in their racist uncle that I don't see families that distant. I see, like, grandparents on my mother's side. They're alright. It's supposed to be an awkward fucking year for some people who do actually participate in that. I mean, did anybody just skip that shit this year? You know, it's been a really fucked up year when thinking about that concept isn't...
Dude, yeah, it is a particularly fucked year for political disagreements at the Thanksgiving table with the Israel-Palestine thing. Because how many Zoomers do you think had to sit there at the Thanksgiving table biting their fucking tongue as their boomer grandparents who take their yearly vacations to Israel, like, talk about how, like, Palestinian children need to be bombed? Like, that's gotta fucking suck. This has got to be worse than your average election year for Thanksgiving. Like, it's kind of a meme that every election year, Thanksgiving is, like, you know, really rough. Because, you know, all the family members are kind of having their own political disagreements, so it's a whole thing, right? But this time around, it's arguably worse, because we're in the midst of, like, one of the most culture war politicized... Two of the most culture war politicized, like, wars ever. You've got, like, grandparents who are going to be pro-Israel bombing Palestine and anti-Russia. Like, it's gonna be, like, there's gonna be, like, a weird, like, amount of hypocrisy and double standard. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. Or it was, I guess. You know, that it was yesterday. Although many of these people are still spending time with their family the next day, so many of you guys are watching my stream right now, like, probably locked in a bathroom, listening on earbuds, like, God, I need to escape and hear some bassness, like, to get away from my crazy fucking family for a minute. Hyper's in chat if that's you. You're listening to my stream right now to escape the cringe that you've been hearing for the last 2 days. I feel like that's gotta be some people in chat.
Is interesting is thinking about what grace must be like for some of you.
Oh.
Talking about shit to be thankful for, starting the argument before anyone even says amen.
Dear Lord, we thank you for making everything more expensive this year while keeping our paychecks exactly the same. Yes, sir, exactly the same. Thank you for making us born in the West. I don't know what the fuck everyone else did, but I guess I'm not gonna ask any questions about that. Please don't let any nuclear missiles come upon us this next coming year or the rest of this year. We won't ask what our own government is doing with the nuclear missiles that we already have. Y'all just do what you do and just don't hurt me. Amen. Now, what's my...
Why are we making more nukes?
My niece or nephew or other gender non-conforming relative name been doing for work these days?
You know,
We're actually, I don't know if we're making more, but I know we're not getting rid of them. What are we doing with those? What's the plan for them? Like Chekhov's nuke? Like, they've got to explode eventually. It's not like they can ever just not, right? If we're just keeping them as they are.
You know, I've had a day job.
Monetized on the internet like that good old Alex Jones?
Yeah, like Alex Jones.
Love giving all of my money to that Alex Jones, talking about them fake school shootings. Nothing gets my appetite going like calling school shootings fake.
Right.
Anyway, where's your day job at?
You know, just a sales associate position at Target.
Target?
That's your trigger? Are we even doing this?
Because Target went woke. That's a good meme. I appreciate it. Thank you, Oxpecker. I'm glad your views are going up. Hell yeah. Get big on TikTok. Become one of them big TikTok celebrities. Midnight Kitty Boy, thank you for the tier 1 sub. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the $5 Renos. Very kind of you. Very based. Didn't say anything, but I appreciate it a lot. And then Mixoledian, thank you for the 5 New Zealand dollars. Said, Zan, would you agree that Thoughtslime is a Rizless poo keg? That is a not far from reality description of him. Yeah, no, he is pretty Rizless. He's got no Riz. His Riz is non-existent. I don't usually spend holidays with the family, but my immediate family is kind of left of center, and unlike a lot of people, aren't anti-Semitic or anti-Palestinian. I rolled a 20 on them. Nice. Good to hear that, Kamchia. That's good to hear. Because I know many of you guys do not have the luxury of having family that aren't insane. Hey, Every Gretel, good to see ya. Let's see. Let me get the next link ready. Y'all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. I knew I was going to have to talk about this sooner or later. I usually don't find myself talking about foreign politics as much because most of my audience is American, and most of my knowledge about politics is in the context of America. Much in the same way that I don't appreciate when, like, Europeans get mad at me for saying that gun control policies in America don't do much to prevent criminals from having the possibility of creating a gun. Like, they still can. They get mad at me. Like, I get people mad at me from, like, Europe and Canada, and, like, not even Canada usually, mostly from Europe, and, like, countries that are extremely different in their gun culture, the amount of guns they've had, the, like, everything. Every single thing about those countries is different. And so I don't appreciate when they try to judge me for my positions that are based on the political state of my country, and when I'm commenting on the political state of my country. And so I try not to speak ignorantly on the state of politics in other countries unless they very, very, very directly impact America. You know, like, usually, unless there's, like, some insane human rights violations going on, if it's just, like, political topic, right, that's going on, and it's not, like, something super important, I try not to, like, overstep, because I'm not, like, super knowledgeable about it. But this has broad enough sweeping implications that I think it's worth talking about, even if I'm not super filled in on Argentina politics. That's right. Argentina presidential election. Far-right libertarian Javier Milei wins after rival concedes. Javier Milei, a volatile far-right libertarian who has vowed to, quote, exterminate inflation and take a chainsaw to the state, has been elected president of Argentina, catapulting South America's second-largest economy into an unpredictable and potentially turbulent future. With more than 99% of votes counted, the Mick Jagger impersonating TV celebrity turned politician, he's basically Argentinian Trump, who is often compared to Donald Trump, had secured 55.69% of the vote compared with 44.3% of his rival, the center-left finance minister Sergio Massa. Today, the reconstruction of Argentina begins. Today is a historic night for Argentina, Milei told jubilant supporters at his campaign headquarters in Buenos Aires, calling his victory a miracle. Milei promised drastic changes to tackle Argentina's tragic reality of soaring inflation and widespread poverty. He also sent a message to the international community. Quote, Argentina will return to the place in the world which it should have never lost. Earlier, Massa, who received 11.5 million votes to Milei's 14.4 million, conceded defeat. Notice, by the way, how this is literally make Argentina great again. Ironically enough, it's MAGA. Just straight up. The crazy thing, too, is have you seen this guy? I need you guys to see what this guy looks like. It's actually crazy. It's actually parody. He looks like a Harry Potter villain. He looks like the long-lost Jack the Ripper. Look at those chops, bro. He looks like Smeagol right when the ring was, like, taking its influence on him and he was about to kill Deagle. That's not exactly how it went in the book, but, you know, you see the movie. Most of you have seen the movie. But yeah, he's got that same face. That, what's the actor's name that plays Gollum? He's really famous. Everyone knows him. Fuck, how am I blanking on his name? I'm gonna feel so stupid. Andy Serkis, thank you. Yeah, like, he's making the face Andy Serkis made before Gollum kills Deagle at the beginning of, Return of the King. Oh, there's also a news report attached to this. Oh boy. That sounds very copyrighted. Is that his wife?
Comienza la reconstrucción de Argentina.
I understand every word of this. If you don't, that's a skill issue. This is literally just a South American Trump rally, dude. That's all this is. It's actually fucking crazy that you've got Donald Trump on one side of Central America saying that you've got caravans coming up from the border, MAGA, and then you've got on the south side of the border another guy who's saying basically the same shit. He's literally like so close to his slogan being MAGA. MAGA could also stand for Make Argentina Great Again. We are living in a fucking wild age. Did you see how, did you hear how like pathetically the chant like pittered out too?
Hoy es una noche histórica para la Argentina. Muchas gracias a todos los que vinieron, muchas gracias a todos los que hicieron que esto fuera posible. Gracias al equipo que viene trabajando hace 2 años para transformar la Argentina y para lograr el milagro de tener un presidente liberal libertario. Muchas gracias.
His whole thing is that he's like a TV celebrity too. He was basically in Donald Trump's position, right? Like how Donald Trump's whole thing was that he was the host of The Apprentice. And like a bunch of other popular TV shows, Donald Trump was like an internet meme before he announced his run for president. So he already had a cult of personality around him. All that needed to be done from there was to grow it. He didn't need to create it. He needed to grow it. It looks like this guy did the same thing.
Quiero decirles que obviamente los resultados no son.
So this is his opponent who conceded.
Los que esperábamos. Y me he comunicado.
Notice how it's mostly young people and women in the crowd who support this guy, and it was all like probably a bunch of rich boomers supporting the Malay guy.
Con Javier Milei para felicitarlo y para desearle suerte porque es el presidente que la mayoría de los argentinos eligió para los próximos 4 años.
It's crazy. Look at the crowd of Malays when the crowd cheers when we see the crowd here. Notice how many of them are like wearing like expensive watches and have like expensive phones and are wearing like button-up shirts and suits and whatnot. But then when you go over to the crowd that supports the left-wing candidate, you've got some people that are dressed nice for the event, but like most people aren't holding up super expensive phones in this crowd compared to the previous image. There definitely are some people, but most people here seem like they're more grassroots working class than the other crowd. Like you can see that the average income of the support base of each candidate just based on the crowd at their rally. Like this guy was very clearly more of a working class candidate.
Con Javier Milei para felicitarlo y para desearle suerte porque es el presidente que la mayoría de los argentinos eligió para los próximos 4 años.
Populism is a fucking cancer, dude. It really is. Populism is genuinely a cancer. Remember, guys, every fascist who's ever taken power did so with the sound of resounding cheers.
Javier Milei porque realmente necesito un cambio, quiero un cambio para mi país, que amo profundamente y venimos de muchos años de decadencia. Y esta me pareció una buena opción, no más de lo mismo. Basta de peronismo, que ya los conocemos. Vamos a ver algo nuevo, con buenas ideas. Y bueno, tengo mucha expectativa. Ojalá no...
God, you have to remember, the average voter is really stupid. The idea of something new is enough to get them to vote. It's why Obama's campaign was so effective. The whole change slogan, the whole idea that Obama was like kind of an outsider who is coming in to like shake things up. Like every single big winner candidate always wins with the narrative that they are an outsider coming in to drain the swamp. With the exception of Donald Trump, he did not win by a lot whatsoever. He technically didn't. He like won by technicality. He won in the least winning way possible. It's actually insane.
De fraude y que haga todo lo mejor por el país.
Nah. Hold on, I'm actually curious if this is a meme or not, too. I have to know. Okay. So there are a lot of memes about how this guy has supposedly fucked his sister. This is but apparently the memes come from this. When right-wing populist Javier Milei became Argentina's president-elect, he dedicated his victory to, quote, the boss, the nickname he used for his enigmatic sister, Karina Milei. Wait, that was his sister! The blonde lady he was hugging that I thought was his wife is his sister. The lady who's always with him that looks like it's his wife is his sister. Dude, that is pretty weird. I can see why people meme that he fucks his sister now. Okay. Yeah, they're giving off Jamie and what's her name? Jamie and... You know what I'm referencing. You know what I'm referencing. Cersei. They're giving off Jamie and Cersei vibes. Jamie and Cersei Lannister vibes. Big time. Big time. Yep. Yeah, no, I see where the memes are coming from. Karina Milei, who barely speaks in public, was tasked with introducing her brother Sunday night after he won a presidential runoff election with 55.7% of the vote, the highest percentage in a general election since the return of democracy in 1983. Without her, none of this would have been possible, Milei told the crowd that chanted, "Ole, ole, boss, boss." Milei enjoyed a meteoric rise to the presidency, making the leap from television commentator to lawmaker 2 years ago. Lacking a group of well-known political advisors, he has surrounded himself with a group of women who are set to be key players in his administration. God, that he is oh, dude. Dude, the memes are not lying. The memes are definitely not lying. Okay? They are definitely not lying. He is into incest, and I refuse to hear anyone say otherwise. How do you guys like that segment? I feel like it came out pretty good. Arthur's Dork, thank you for the tier 1 gift sub to Nightmothism. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the $5. Very based and pog of you. Said reminder to drink water, eat something if you can, and wear sunscreen. Take care of yourselves. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you. And yes, you should do all of those things. Speaking of which, I'll take a sip of water now. Okay. Well, that's really all I had planned to cover today. I think it's time to start winding stream down. In the meantime, I was thinking I would show you a cool... I guess I could show you guys some cool stuff, huh? Anarkitty, thank you for the tier 1 sub. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the $5. Says, hey Zan, I'm an ex-Hassan fan. Thanks for being one of the main driving forces of my de-radicalization from Marxist-Leninism. Take my money. Well, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Remember, you guys don't have to donate to me or anything. I just appreciate you being here or even just liking the stream. But yeah, I really do appreciate donations especially. I mean, obviously. Thank you. And I'm glad I was able to pull you out of, like, basically being red fash. Yeah, it really sucks that, like, the largest left-wing political figure on Twitch and the largest, like, female political streamer on Twitch are both, like, tankies, pretty much. It kind of, yeah, it sucks. Do I want to talk about guns? Nah, I don't think most people here are very interested in gun talk, so I figure what ought to be best would be if I show you guys a location I want to visit, alright? Guys, we have to convince Shark300 to join me. to this location. Guys, if I need to get a vacation to this place. I want to go here on vacation so bad. You guys have no idea how bad I want to go here. And it is important that we get Shark 300 to go with me, alright? You will find out why. In one moment. Nope. No copyrighted music for me. You guys are going to see in a moment. Is Shark in Seattle? I think Shark's on the East Coast. Shark lives very far away. Doesn't matter, though. When you see what you are about to see. This is in the Bahamas. This is called Compass Key. Vacations are for imperialists. I just want to go to a tropical beach vacation. You have to have a boat to get to this place, so you have to rent one or own one, but renting is more reasonable. Look at this restaurant. This goes hard. I think it's a bar and restaurant, but yeah. It's awesome. And then this crystal clear blue water filled with sharks. And they're named. They're wild sharks, obviously. But they have been named. And they're nurse sharks. They are completely harmless. They cannot hurt you. Look at their little mouths. I want to swim with them. I want to exhale and lay on the bottom and watch them swim around me and above me. I want to lay down on the bottom and be surrounded by sharks and fish. I want to lay down next to that shark on the bottom and just be like, hey, bro. This is the dream. You guys need to send this video to Shark and tell him that I want to go here and I want to bring Shark and honestly as many other content creators as possible. I think it would be an awesome content opportunity. Kind of like how like those big clouded up Twitch streamer YouTuber types do their like we went to every single Margaritaville in the country, but literally way easier than that. God, look at them. They're so majestic. And yeah, a bull shark or a reef shark could just kind of pull up at any time. They totally could. Like, there's no nets or, like, anything preventing you from, like, getting attacked by, like, a big shark. But, you know, that's part of the fun, is that you're swimming with the friendly sharks, but non-friendly ones could show up. And this is such a good snorkeling spot, too. It helps that the snorkeling spot is top tier. I wouldn't want to swim with them, but I would dangle my feet in the water and maybe give them head pats. Heavy Gretel, I would push you into the water. If anybody was too scared to get in with them, I would push them in. I would grab them and, like, pull them in. 100%. You gotta suck it up and hop in the water with the friendly nurse sharks. Look at their mouths. Look at this. This is literally a catfish mouth. They can't hurt you. You'd never take me alive. No, like literally, look at them. Even if you shoved your hand into their mouth, I don't think they'd be able to hurt you. Look how cute they are. I really want to do this. And of course, for those of you guys who are, oh, and Val the Shark in YouTube chat, what a fitting name, says, I'd love to swim there so much, but my dumbass would be so distracted. I myself would forget I can't breathe underwater. No, you would be fine. It's very shallow water. You could probably stand in it, especially at low tide. Anyway, I wanted to show you something cool. As you all know, after I move, come this spring, I plan to incubate a batch of quail eggs and start raising jumbo Coturnix quail hens for eggs and, you know, so it provides some cool content, and because it looks like it's going to be fun. And for those that don't know, you don't actually wash quail. They don't bathe, in the traditional way at least, in water. They bathe themselves in sand. They dust bathe, and it's possibly the cutest thing you'll have ever seen in your entire life. Yep, they dust bathe like They're very dumb birds too. They're very, very dumb. Like they're so stupid. It adds so much to their cuteness. They're like ridiculously dumb. Like they are completely non-self-sufficient. They cannot exist in the wild. They cannot breed without human intervention. They don't know how to sit on their eggs and incubate them, so they would literally go extinct if we didn't incubate their eggs for them. Like they are actually the dumbest birds ever. And they're cute as fuck. Crazy to think that they came from dinosaurs. Yeah, we've genetically mutilated the fuck out of them through breeding. They are so far from their dinosaur origins that it's actually sad a little bit if you think about it, but they're so cute. They've been fully domesticated. Yeah, they're really adorable and really dumb, yeah. Very rare. Thank you for the $5. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the donation. Says, hey Zan, have you ever tried out Warframe? No, I heard it takes way too long for it to get good, and I've heard that about FF14, and then it never got good. So, the devs are very progressive, and I can see you enjoying the game. Plus, it has fishing. No, I would not enjoy Warframe. I can promise you, I would not. It is not up my alley. I promise you. But I do appreciate the suggestion. Thank you for the $5. Hey, Zan, if I'm remembering correctly, don't you have a shark costume? I think I do, yeah. I think I have a shark onesie for if we hit the $300 dono goal in a stream. Which we have not in a while, which is why I haven't worn the shark onesie in a while. You guys will have to donate for that to happen, but not today. Because here, I'm afraid, is where I must tell you all that stream is coming to an end. What a fantastic stream we had today, though. Very, very fruitful. Had so many people watching today. Got a whole bunch of segments done. And you guys were so kind with the support. I really do appreciate it. Frankly, I'm already starting to feel hungry again. It's time for some more Thanksgiving leftovers. I'm going to eat some more turkey and stuffing and mashed potatoes and cranberry sauce. And I think I might hop on WoW Retail. And do a little grinding, you know, get some of my MSQ done so I can get caught up with the story, because holy fuck is WoW's story getting pretty good right now. The like War Within setup is really fucking fun. I'm really liking it. So yeah. With all that said, thank you all so much for watching, and have a good one. Yeah, the Metzen influence is real. But with all that said, have a good one, guys. I love you all. Doo-doo fart.